Welcome to the Elk Talk Podcast with Randy Newberg and Corey Jacobson. Presented by the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation.
The goal is, what little you and I know about elk hunting, we share with people.
I've got an elk bugle, it's like 120 yards away. What do I do? First off, the thought would never cross my mind when an elk's bugle 120 yards away to call anybody on a cell phone.
All elk?
All the time? Only elk?
Only elk.
Well, it's us having conversations, so we usually go down some rabbit holes, but
If you hunt with Corey Jacobson, you will find the landscape is full of rabbit holes. We're just going to make this up as we go.
and you look at it like, oh, that's a target-rich environment. But if you're trying to single one out, a solo target there is much easier to go into than a big group.
We record everything, so there's no BSing, no lying, no faking it with us.
Did we hit the record
I thought
button?
I forgot to hit the record button. If you want to know something about elk hunting, this probably isn't the podcast to listen to. Should we give them a list of all the other podcasts where they might learn something? The Elk Talk Podcast is brought to you by the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation, ensuring the future of elk, other wildlife, their habitat, and our hunting heritage. To become a member, go to rmef.org.
And the podcast is also brought to you by OnX Maps. And with OnX Maps, you can know where you stand with the most accurate hunting GPS tech on the market with land ownership maps that work offline. Go to onxmaps.com and use promo code ELKTALK, and you're going to save 20% when you sign up for an app membership at onxmaps.com.
The podcast is also brought to you by Gerber. Go to gerbergear.com and learn about the knives, the Vital, the Big Game Vital, the Gator Premium, all the things that we use when we're out in the woods, and not just knives, but also some really cool multi-tools that they have.
We're also proud to partner with Sitka Gear. And if you go to sitkagear.com, you'll see their full line of clothing. And their tagline is turning clothing into gear. And they are doing that through advanced technology that allows you to stay in the field longer, hunt harder, and stay safer.
The Elk Talk Podcast is also brought to you by GoHunt.com. Go to GoHunt.com and sign up for the Insider. The Insider is changing how hunts and hunting information are found. No doubt about that. Use promo code ELKTALK, and when you sign up for the Insider, you're going to get $50 of store credit, mad money, in their gear shop.
And we are also brought to you by Rocky Mountain Hunting Calls. And Rocky Mountain Hunting Calls is the original designer and inventor of the pallet plate diaphragm that's completely changed the way elk calls are made and used. And to find out more and to order your elk calls, go to RockyMountainHuntingCalls.com or BuglingBull.com and use promo code ELKTALK, and you're going to save 15% on all of your elk calls and elk call accessories.
And with that, Corey, we are ready to get into it.
Let's jump into it. All right, folks, welcome back to the Elk Talk Podcast. And we are here on location in beautiful Donnelly, Idaho.
Yeah, beautiful, Donnelly. Except now it's dark outside.
Well.
We've been jabbering so long all day. We went to the wee hours of darkness.
Well, and I had to skip out and go coach high school basketball for a couple hours. And
Yeah, he must have been yelling a lot.
I was going to say I've lost my voice. Talking over 9 high school age boys is...
Really? That's a team of 9?
Yeah, we have 9 on ours.
Better. Hopefully they use more discretion with their fouls than I did when I was in high school playing basketball. My theory was they gave you 5 fouls, and if you went to the locker room or the end of the game and you only used 4 of them, you didn't get your money's worth.
No use wasting a foul.
No way. That's
So
kind of...
that brings up a story. So Isaac, my son, he'll be 16 in a couple of weeks. They had a game last Saturday night, and they only had 5 people eligible to play. It was over Christmas break. One of the kids hadn't been to practice. One of them was out of town, so they were a little short-handed. He had 3 fouls in the first 7 minutes of the game.
I'm my kind of guy there.
We had a little talk, and the coaches and I talked to him and explained, hey, we need 5 people on the floor in the fourth quarter to finish this game. Can you maybe go a little bit softer for the next few quarters, and he made it through. I don't think he got another foul the rest of the game. So,
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
And they won. So.
Throttled him down. Oh, man, that was half the fun. That was the only reason I played basketball.
Was to foul people?
It was an extension of football season.
They didn't have wrestling in Minnesota?
Well, they did, but I wasn't going to do that. I was just one of those lucky high schoolers who I was bigger than most others at that point. And so if you came down the lane, nobody got a layup if I was around. There was no such thing as a layup. You were going to make free throws.
Yep.
Yeah. But we were pretty good. My senior, we were a small school, but my senior year, we lost one game.
Wow.
My junior year, we lost 3.
Just practice on ice, or how do they do it in Minnesota?
No. We were too small to have a hockey team. That was a bad deal. I mean, you grew up in the hockey capital of the
I was going to say, you grew up in Minnesota and can't have a hockey team?
I know. That's how small we were. We were... you got to go to Big Falls, Minnesota to see how small it is. We all skated and played pond hockey, but and none of us could have ever afforded what it cost to play hockey.
Yeah.
That was for those rich kids in Bemidji and Grand Rapids and the Iron Range.
The big city kids.
Yeah. Us in a little town of 500 people, we had to stick with things like basketball and beaver trapping. And that's why I didn't do track and field the spring beaver season.
Yeah.
Besides that, it wasn't that fast. Anyway,
Guy has to have priorities.
That's right.
Oh.
Yeah, because I'd make enough money trapping beaver in the spring that then I could buy all kinds of ammunition for in the fall.
I'll say then you could have played hockey, but you spent your money on ammunition.
Yeah. So
it's priorities.
It is. So that was quite a tangent.
I was going to say that was a rabbit hole from the beginning.
Yeah. What did that have to do with Elk Talk Podcast?
I don't even. Maybe my voice being scratchy led.
There we go.
Yeah.
So what conversation are you going to lead us down?
I think this episode we should focus on the state of Arizona.
I think so. I think we should maybe do 5 episodes on the state of Arizona. I like it that much.
If I got an elk tag for every episode I did on Arizona,
I'd do one a week.
I would be out of voice. Yeah.
Because we've already covered Wyoming.
Yep.
And then prior podcasts, we kind of did the overview
of our application strategies and why we look at different states. And, I think it's important as we talk about each state to talk about the pros and cons of applying there. And that way, some people listening might be able to make a decision that's, their goals or their ability, their whatever might be different than ours.
Yep.
And where we apply for Wyoming, Arizona, New Mexico, whatever it is, somebody might find a value in applying for Oregon or something else. So we can spend some time talking about that. And when it comes to Arizona, there's a lot more pros than cons.
Yeah. You want to know the dumbest thing I've done in my adult life?
Wow.
It's a long list.
I was going to say, the one at the top of the list, you're going to tell us?
Well, short of being thrown in jail in Mexico while I was a student in Arizona, that's probably the top of the list. Second, these are both Arizona experiences. I lived in Arizona going to college long enough to establish residency, and I was too much of a tightwad to buy the lifetime license before I left there.
Which would have allowed you to apply as a non-resident in the resident pool, is that correct?
Yeah. Not subject to the 10% cap.
I know people that will probably move to Arizona after hearing this podcast just to establish residency so they can.
Yeah. My wife, she says when we retire, well, first of all, I'm never going to retire because I'll never have enough money. I blow it all on hunting. But she says we're moving to Nevada. I'm like, no, I'm moving to Arizona, at least for a year. Whatever the period is to establish residency, if I ever do move somewhere to retire, it's Arizona. Because I want that lifetime license.
Yeah, and as I get older, that might be an option. If I was to move somewhere now just to establish residency, it'd probably be Alaska.
There would have been a time, but I lucked out and I got all those out of the way.
Man.
I had family. My grandfather lived up there for 30 years. So, I lucked out. Didn't cost me.
If anybody listening is living in Alaska and happens to be related to me, please let me know.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if bribery could get it there. You know what's weird?
DNA tests can be altered, right?
Yeah. The Alaska uncle doesn't count as second removed kindred. I have 3 uncles in Alaska.
And that doesn't count?
Doesn't count. Parent, grandparent, child, brother and sister-in-law count. But uncle doesn't count?
Huh.
Give me a break. That's crooked as all get.
Yeah, it is.
Anyhow, they don't have much for elk hunting in Alaska, so we'll leave that for a different discussion. But
they do. They do have elk hunting.
They do. We've
talked about that.
I know. Yeah, we should go do that someday.
Yeah.
I've driven by that island when I've been black bear hunting. It doesn't look like any fun. It looks just like a place you should go. I'll sit on the beach.
Steep, brushy, and loaded with brown bears?
Yep.
Perfect.
I'll sit on the beach. I'll tend the fire and bring Dirk or Donnie or someone with. And I'll catch crabs and I'll have dinner ready when you show up.
Then all the bears will be near you.
That's right.
Yeah.
So back to Arizona.
We're on a bit of a rabbit hole.
Yeah, we need to quit that. We got to get the audience educated and informed here so that they all apply in Arizona. Yep. So, like the one guy said in the Sitka question of the week a while back, all this information going to screw it up for everybody. By the time we're done, the Arizona draw odds are going to go down the crapper.
And that's okay this year.
Yeah, because you're just buying a point.
I'm just buying a point. So this is the year to have everybody apply. They're going to see the horrible draw odds when they go next year, and then I'll apply. And so it's a cyclical thing. There's a strategy in letting out information on strategies.
Okay. Spoiler alert. Go Hunt has the Arizona draw odds up. The whole website's been redone. Yep. Super fast. All really cool. But the very first thing I click on is their strategy articles about, they do Arizona elk, then they do Arizona antelope, and they do it for every state and every species. But the Arizona elk strategy article is one that I always read a couple times over because Arizona does not have a real simple system.
Yeah.
They complicate it. Just by how they do, what do they call the bonus pass and the 1-2 pass or something like that? So those of you who haven't applied in Arizona, you're going to have to listen to this section of the podcast a couple times, or you go out to Go Hunt and just sign up and use promo code Elk Talk and get your $50 of store credit. And read the strategy article because look, they've got diagrams, they've got everything.
They have
here.
Pictures. I can handle pictures. Are those elk or deer?
Yeah, those are those are mule deer, but they've got it in the elk piece. Yep. But anyhow, so there's an overall 10% cap for most hunts. We'll get into the hunts that aren't. I touched on it a couple podcasts ago. Yep.
You ruined it then. So I know. The cat's out of the bag.
Yeah. So I may as well go into full detail in this podcast, but 10% of the tags go to non-residents, up to, not guaranteed 10%, up to 10%. Yep. So Arizona really has 2 parts to their draw. They have what they call, I think they call it the bonus pass, don't they?
Yep. That's the preference round.
Yeah. They take 20% of the tags for every hunt code, and they award them to the people with the highest number of bonus points within that hunt code.
And typically up until 2015, in that round, all of the allocated non-resident tags typically went. So you had to have basically max points in order to draw a non-resident tag.
Right. They changed that in 2016.
Yep.
So when we say that 20% of the tags go in this first draw, there's a kind of like a sub quota there that no more than half of the non-resident quota can be given away in this first round, because this first round really is for the folks with a high point level. So give them some tags and get them out of the hair for low point holders like us, or like me. Maybe not you. How many points?
I have 11.
11.
Yeah, and so that's the bummer.
I got 3.
They changed it on me right when I was getting ready to draw with max points. We could draw our unit with 9 points, pretty much guaranteed. Yeah. And that year they changed it so that no more than 50% of the tags went to those with the most points. Right. And it's completely changed. Now it takes 11 or 12 points to draw that same tag.
Yeah.
To be guaranteed.
Yeah. Well,
but there's a chance that somebody with 1 or 2 points now can draw that. And so I see the benefit, and I like the benefit after I draw. Right now is not the time to make the change.
So the first part of the draw, 20% of the tags go over here, and it's called the bonus pass, and that goes to pretty much to the people with the high point.
Yep.
No more than 5% of the total 10% that could go to non-residents. Only half of that, or 5%, can be awarded in that first pass.
Yep.
Then everybody else who didn't draw in the first pass gets put over into the what they call 1-2 pass.
Yep.
And this is a true bonus point draw, and they look at your first 2 choices.
Yep.
So if they look at your application, and you don't, all the tags are gone for your first choice, they drop down to your second choice before they move on to the next applicant.
You can actually draw the hardest to draw tag in the state of Arizona as a second choice in the 1-2 round now.
You can. It's very, very unlikely, but you could.
Yep. There could be an easier to draw tag, has already been allocated all of the tags.
Right.
And you have that as your first choice, and your second choice, you put a hard to draw unit that for whatever reason, all the tags haven't been allocated, you could draw it.
Right. So those of us who are non-residents, if you're not at the big pile of points, you're really out of the running until we get into the 1-2 pass.
Yep.
And they're up. So if the 10% non-resident quota exists and only 3% went in the bonus pass, up to 7% can go in the 1-2 pass, the following draw.
Yep. So just to make it a little easier to follow, let's say there's a unit that offers 100 archery tags.
There you go. Let's round numbers. I like this.
And with percentages, so there's 100 tags offered for this unit. No more than 10 of them are available for a non-resident.
Correct.
And in the bonus pass in the first round, they take 20 of those tags.
20 of the 100, yep.
And allocate those to those who have the most points.
Yep.
If non-residents, a whole bunch of non-residents have high points, which is typically the case. There's usually more non-residents than residents with higher points.
Yep.
And they'll allocate, of those 20 tags now, 5 of them are available for non-residents to draw in that round.
Yep.
And they may draw 5, they may not. Maybe they go to residents and there are only 3 of them go to non-residents.
Right.
In that case, there's 7 left for the next round. But if all 5 go, there's up to 5 left in the next round. And it's a true bonus. So if I have 10 points, I get 10 chances in the hat. If Randy has 3, he gets 3 chances in the hat. And they randomly draw out the application. If your hunt code matches what they have available and they haven't given those 5 non-resident tags out, you're awarded a tag.
Yep.
And if not, you might be the 6th person that gets drawn, but the first 5 were non-residents, those tags are gone,
you're out.
And you don't get a tag.
Yeah, and if you can order the Arizona Draw Report, and you will see that happen.
Yeah.
Where, how did somebody with 10 points not draw, but everybody at 9 points drew?
Yep.
Well, what happened is somebody with 10 points, those were non-residents, and the non-resident cap had been met. So they just ignore you.
Yeah.
And they drop down to all the residents.
Yep.
And so, yeah, I've seen that before. I play that game a little bit.
And people get upset when they look at it like, I had 10 points and everybody with 9 drew. Why did I not? Well, it's because there is a quota.
Yeah, the 10% cap has been met. So.
Which, that quota, we talked about it in a previous podcast, but that's how I drew my first Arizona elk tag. Was the state was sued because of discrimination, and they had to issue more non-resident tags.
Yeah.
And in that second issuing of tags, my name got drawn.
Yeah. Lucky you.
Lucky me.
And I got drawn that same year. That was crazy.
Yeah.
Amazing number of non-residents got drawn that year.
Well, you figure they were capped at 10%. So in that same hunt that had 100 tags, 10 non-residents were drawn, 90 went to residents.
Right.
Well, when they came back out and said that we had to do it equally, they had to issue another 80.
So whatever it was to get to
non-resident tags
to
be equal to the number of resident tags.
Yeah, it was a weird year. I'm glad that that got solved, and that I think states should be able to limit non-residents. I'm not advocating that Arizona should have to give me, well, if they want to give
maybe
me
20% for non-residents.
They should have like a good guy tag or something. But as many times as I've lucked out and drawn tags in Arizona, I don't think I'm going to get a lot of sympathy from people.
Yeah. I don't know that you've lucked out.
I played the game pretty hard.
Yeah,
I play the game. If there's one good thing about being a CPA, you're pretty handy with this stuff. Yeah. Before the advent of Go Hunt, I look at some of the spreadsheets I have still. I don't know why I keep them. I don't even use them now that I have Go Hunt. I have some of the most intricate, colorful, 45 column wide spreadsheets you've ever seen in your life.
With percentages out to 4 decimal points.
Yeah. I mean, my will and my life insurance policies and everything, I keep those in the house. If it burns down, heck with it. But all these spreadsheets, I had them on a little drive at my CPA office. If ever the house burned down, I don't want to lose all that hard work. But Arizona is a very complicated state to understand your true draw odds. And that's why you see a lot of these services that say, well, the simple odds, they call it, are 1 in 5. Well, you think about that. It's really not 1 in 5 because it doesn't give you any depth of how many people were at each point level, how many were residents versus non-residents at each point level. It's not.
It's complicated trying to guess how many of the people that were left over from last year's draw are going to apply for the same tag.
Yeah,
and it becomes a little bit of a guessing game.
Yeah,
if you don't have a program set up to calculate everything for you.
Yeah. So you wrote down all these due dates, application deadlines.
Yeah. So the deadline in Arizona for this year is February 12th.
February 12th. I'm not going to miss that.
Yeah. Do not miss that one.
Yeah. And with Arizona, you have to buy the non-resident, non-refundable hunting license to apply.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Do you have to buy it to apply or only to receive a bonus point if you're unsuccessful?
I don't know.
I believe it may have changed. I know in the past you could apply for Arizona without a license. Mm-hmm. If you drew, you have to buy the license. But if you didn't draw, you don't get a bonus point unless you buy the license up front.
Yeah. I know you have to you have to be holding a license at the time of the drawing in order to get a bonus point. Yep. I do know that.
Absolutely.
I know they also switched and now they're on this 365-day license year. And a bunch of people try to skate within 1 day of that. Yeah. You know what? Arizona is too important to my draw strategy. I'm not wimping out and trying to tightwad it like that.
Yep.
Plus, I then apply for antelope. And then in June, I apply for sheep and deer. And then in the fall, I always go like next week.
Yeah.
I'm going to be in Arizona hunting archery javelina and archery coos deer.
Because on your 365-day license that you bought last year in February.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, I've already made that investment. I want to get out of the snow. And it is so fun to chase these little buggers. Arizona, I think everyone thinks of the Grand Canyon, Phoenix, and Tucson.
Yeah.
There's so much hunting and so much public land. I love it.
Yeah. I've been over 10,000 feet twice in Arizona hunting elk.
Well, the bull I shot in 2017, we did a film on it called Uncommon Ground. That shameless plug, it's out there on my Amazon channel. If you subscribe to Amazon Prime, you can watch all of my stuff for free out on Amazon. Super high quality viewing experience. Anyhow, that bull that I shot was at 10.4.
Yep.
And there were bulls even up higher.
Yep.
It's people don't think that Arizona has that kind of terrain.
Aspen and pine and it's classic elk country.
Yeah. So you got to buy a license. You got to apply by the 12th of February.
Yep. And a license is $160.25 or something
like that.
Yeah.
And then for every species you apply for, there's a $15 application fee. Unless you have 3 teenagers in your house like Corey Jacobson, who Corey is, he huge accolades for this. Why you've applied your kids in Arizona for the folks? If you only listen to one thing in this podcast, it is that Arizona has a $5 youth non-resident hunting license.
Yep. And $5 per species to apply.
I think it's $5. Yeah. Maybe even if they raise that to the $15
or whatever.
Yeah. Who cares? So people ask, Randy, how does your son Matthew have so many points in Arizona? Well, as quick as he passed Hunter Ed, I was applying him for this $5. He's got 18 sheep points, 18 deer points, and he's already burned his elk points one time, and he's now cycling up. I think he's at 6 or 7 points again. By the time he got out of high school, his senior year in high school, he had enough points. He would have been guaranteed not any, but a lot of the late rifle elk hunts.
Oh, yeah.
All for a $5 non-resident license.
Yep.
So there you have it, folks. If you aren't doing that and you have teenagers in your house, you're just missing the boat.
Yep. I don't know if we mentioned that when we talked about Wyoming. They're similar. It's a little more expensive, but you don't have to buy a license, and I think it's $10 or $15 per species to apply youth.
Oh, really?
So my kids all have bonus points in Arizona and Wyoming for a fairly minimal investment. So when they are 18, 22, 28, when they graduate college when they're 36, whatever it is, they're going to have a whole pile of points sitting here waiting for them and be able to have some pretty great hunts.
Graduate college yet? What'd you say, 36? Okay. The 18-year program. So a couple other things. Arizona is a bonus point system, not a preference point system, even though they kind of are a preference point system.
That first round is preference for those with the most points.
But you can get some extra points in Arizona. Yeah. I did. Did you go take the Hunter Ed class?
I have not yet.
What?
Yeah. I still get the loyalty point.
Right. So that's the second one.
Yeah.
But the loyalty point can go away.
Yep.
This is confession here.
You forgot to apply one year?
Not me.
Oh.
My son. So not only did he not get a point that year, he lost his loyalty point. So, folks, what the loyalty point is, if you apply for 5 years in a row for any species, you then get a loyalty point
for that species.
So after your 5th year, you'd say, oh, well, I got 6 points now because I was unsuccessful. No, really, you get 7 because you've got 5 going into the draw. You didn't draw, so that's your 6th bonus point. Then you get your loyalty point because you've done it for 5 years. Don't ever... Don't have a gap in your application.
If you apply every year, that loyalty point stays with you.
Right. But as quick as you miss a year, it goes away.
And you have to go for 5 years starting from that point to get it back.
Yep. Yeah. And then there's the hunter education point, which is kind of interesting. I decided to do it in 2007. I was 1 point. So when they started the deer point system, I can't remember when it was, like 2000. There were other non-residents who had taken the Hunter Ed point or Hunter Ed class and got that extra point. So I was behind all those in the deer draw. I said, heck with that. I flew down to Kingman. I sat there for whatever it was, 14, 16 hours.
Got it.
One day, all day long. That year I drew the Arizona strip mule deer tag. And now I was at max points. So if we're going to keep doing this podcast, you are going to Arizona and you are getting your Hunter Ed point.
I know. I just haven't been as pressed to draw it. I think I'm at a point where I can draw the Arizona tag. I've just had so many other things on my calendar. I haven't taken the time to draw the tag because I want to make sure I have the full 2 weeks to be able to hunt that tag when I draw it.
That's like comparing the price of gas with whether the Vikings will win the Super Bowl. They're completely unrelated. That was a really bad justification. I hope you debate better with your wife than what excuse you just gave there.
I'm saying I don't need the point right now.
So you own a platform called the University of Elk Hunting.
Yep.
You own elk101.com.
Yep.
You co-host a podcast called Elk Talk.
Yeah.
And you don't have the permanent Hunter Ed bonus point in Arizona.
Yep. I've thought about it.
remedial training going on here, folks.
So get the bonus point or the permanent bonus point for hunter's education.
Right. And don't let your loyalty point lapse.
Yeah. Because that's 2 extra points. So realistically, you draw a tag one year. The next year you apply, you have 2 points for that hunt.
Yeah.
There's some hunts you can draw with 2 or 3 points in Arizona.
Yeah, there are. I'm going to find out.
Yeah.
Because I drew in 2017. 2018, last year, I still had my loyalty and my hunter ed point. I didn't draw, so now I've got a third one going into 2019.
Plus your application, so that's 4 chances.
I'm feeling lucky, man. Yeah. I can feel that Big Mo is going to be on my side. I know it. And the reason I know it's going to happen is I already have a November conflict.
Yeah.
That's what happens.
Well, what's your November conflict?
My Uncle Larry.
Oh, the Wyoming hunt.
The Wyoming hunt. I think I talked about that on the Wyoming podcast. So he was able to reserve due to his chemo issues, reserve the Wyoming tag he drew this year, or in 18. They granted him to it for 19. That's a new rule in Wyoming.
Yeah.
And that's a November hunt. The same time I want to be down in Arizona.
Gotcha. I thought maybe you were going to say it was a conflict with a guy from Idaho who's coming to Montana hunting in November with you.
I'm sorry, my friend.
That's no conflict at all.
If I got an Arizona elk tag, I don't see much conflict there.
I see. That's why I wasn't on your list of people to apply in Montana with.
I'll reimburse your Montana tag if I got a punt on you, so that's how far we are right now. You got to do all those things to be in the draw.
Buy a license.
Yep. Then you don't have to front the money like you do in some states. So you send in I can't remember, I think for elk it's a $15 application fee. I should know that, but I apply in so many states, I get them mixed up.
It's a nominal fee per species.
Yeah. And you can't apply on paper anymore. Now you have to do it online, I think is the requirement. I think I think
you can apply like January 16th or something
there's
by
like
paper.
A 2-day window you can apply by paper. Something like that.
After the 16th or whatever the date is, it's somewhere in there. Then it's all online, which honestly, there's no reason to apply by paper.
Yeah.
There's no benefit to it. You could lose it in the mail.
Right. Uncle Larry and my buddy Walt Pritchard, Walt always did their applications. 2016, Walt forgets to add the whatever $3 processing fee. They got booted. They lost their loyalty point, and they didn't get a bonus point that year. They're Arizona residents, and they lost 2 points on account of that. So, just
do it online. You get a watch. They confirm. You hit submit. It's done.
So the other part is get rid of your Cabela's credit card because they don't show immediate charges on a Cabela's credit card. I specifically got rid of my Cabela's card. Or quit I still have it, but I quit using it.
You don't use it for applications?
Because I've got one now where I get pinged. Do you approve this charge? Any pending charge that's over, I can set the dollar amount. I know if I drew Arizona. You think that I would have enough patience, I could wait an extra 3 or 4 days.
But I can see a story developing here. You get all excited with this text that you get. Do you approve this charge? And you accidentally hit no. And you lose your Arizona elk tag. I'd rather just get the confirmation, hey, your charge just went through. Congratulations on your Arizona elk tag.
I've never even thought of that.
Yeah, don't hit decline.
No, What if my wife does? That'd be grounds for separation. I mean, she's already got many grounds for separation.
See, I don't think she needs more reasons.
No, I better just put the shovel down. When you're in a hole, put the shovel down is the first thing. Oh, point guard. Yeah. So you got to set up an account on Arizona's portal system. And if you do, you can do the $5 insurance point guard. I don't do it because if I draw, I'm going.
Yeah.
They're weddings, funerals, whatever. I'm going. You need to die get married some other time, pal, because I'm going to Arizona if I got a tag.
Yep.
But what the point guard is for people who are worried about conflict,
potential conflict,
once every, I can't remember how many years,
3 years or 5 years, yeah.
You pay $5 every time, and it's kind of like buying insurance that, hey, if I end up with a conflict, I can turn my tag back, and this one time I'll get my points restored.
Yep.
I don't know why anybody would worry about that with Arizona elk. I get so excited just talking about Arizona elk. It's, yeah. Oh, and whatever you do when Arizona sends you the notice that, hey, today's the last day to change credit cards, make sure your credit card is good, because they are done going back to all the deadbeats who forgot about their credit card. Can you imagine?
And that's a great point to bring up. We probably should have mentioned that in our general strategy. When you apply to multiple states or just one state and use a credit card, make sure the expiration date of that credit card is ahead of all of your draw dates for the year. And if it's not, call the bank, tell them you lost your credit card and they need to send you a new one. And it'll extend the expiration date by 4 or 5 years and you'll be covered.
Yeah. Every year I read about it out on my Hunt Talk forum. I'm sure out on your Elk 101 forum, you read the same thing.
Yep.
Somebody, whatever, forgot. I have no sympathy for him.
Yeah.
This is serious stuff here. This is, you hire a financial advisor for your retirement.
Yeah.
You don't hire somebody to take care of this kind. You
do it yourself.
You do it yourself. You never, why there is any... I mean, there's some great people who run these application services.
Yeah.
I would never entrust that to somebody.
So I mentioned how I drew my first Arizona elk tag.
Yeah.
Was when USO sued the state of Arizona. I drew my second Arizona elk tag 3 years later when a certain large box store outdoor company who has a tag application service missed the deadline in Arizona and forgot to turn in, I don't remember how many tens of thousands of applications, didn't make the deadline.
Right.
And
they sent it to the old address.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
They gave everybody a $20 gift card for the inconvenience.
Good. That's nice. If you spend $100, you get $20 off.
Something like that. So you drew that year.
I drew that year. So that was 2008. And I didn't think there was any chance I'd ever draw with 3 points in a really good archery rut hunt in Arizona.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, my number got drawn.
Yeah, because an application service.
Yep. So don't trust your elk applications to anyone but yourself.
This is how worked up I get about this stuff. There was rumor that Arizona was going to allow all of those applications to be brought in. I went and hired an attorney. Really, I did. Mike Spitzer, who I hunt with a lot. He's an attorney at the time. I'm like, Mike, I'm going to hire you. You send Arizona a letter saying that we're going to sue you guys if you accept those. And he did. It cost me however much money. It was well worth it. And I went out on all the hunting forums and said, hey, guys, my attorney tells me that if this, we're going to need as many people as possible. I'll pay the fee. I just need all you guys to back us up here and say, yeah, I want to be part of that lawsuit.
Rules are rules.
Yeah. Yep. Fortunately, Arizona's commission is really, they're dialed in. They did the right thing.
Yep.
They denied them. So all those people lost their bonus points and they didn't get a point that year, and Corey got a tag.
Yep. It's a win-win.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man. There's so many cool things about Arizona. When's the last time you drew then?
2008.
2008.
So I'm going on 11 years plus a loyalty point. So I'm sitting good to draw tag. And like we talked in the last podcast, I don't think I'm going to apply this year. I'll just get another point.
Yeah.
And within the next 2 years, I'll plan on.
Really? I'll pay your tag fee if we'll do a party app.
Yeah, I think you're a little behind me. Maybe after I draw and you have 5 or 6 points, we could consider it.
I just had to see what your reaction was. So Arizona's prices compared to Nevada of $1,200, Utah, depending on whether it's
1,000, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean the premium one. There's like this multi-season one or whatever. That's way higher. The Wyoming, all in with the application fee, the license, and now the processing fees over 12. That gets over $1,200.
Yep.
Nevada's $1,200. Montana, and just for the elk parts, almost $900. And Arizona is at $665.
Yep.
I mean, that's still a lot of money.
Is that just the tag?
That's just the tag.
And then you've got another $160
for the
change
license.
for the license.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's still a lot of money, but we're talking about
It's not as high as it should be for the quality of hunt you will have when you pay that for the tag.
Right. Let's not tell Arizona this, but if they raise their price as high as the quality is in the mix of great accessible public land, their product is the least price sensitive product in the elk hunting world, I think.
Yep. Yeah, you're going to pay, nearly $500 for a tag in Idaho.
Yeah.
And for another $160, same license cost, you've got a tag in Arizona. So
right. Yeah.
The downside of all that is the availability and the number of tags.
True. That is definitely true. And like this year, 2018 was one of the worst drought years ever. Yeah, they got a big monsoon in September and October, but the antler growth is done by then. Can you imagine having burned 22 points and then along comes a drought like that?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, in the drought, everybody talks about antler size during the drought, and they're 20 to 30 inches. Boone and Crockett score smaller on a drought year, and they're definitely top ends. If it's dry early in the season, they're going to have short front ends. If it's dry later, in July, they're going to have short top ends. The antlers definitely are affected by the drought, but I think even more than that is the elk behavior.
Oh, really?
How difficult it is to hunt an elk during a drought.
Really? In what way?
The way I've seen it, there's a couple things. First off, they're all concentrated around water. So all the hunters are concentrated around water. Yep. And so everybody's hunting. The elk are a lot more pressured that year. And then the intensity of the rut just seems to be way off during a drought. Just the amount of bugling action. I don't know if it's, the cows, if they don't all come into estrus. I don't know what it is, but the rut intensity is definitely decreased severely during a severe drought.
That's not good.
Yeah. So like say, you just wait 22 years, you draw this tag, you didn't buy the point guard, you can't turn your tag back in.
Right.
And now you're stuck hunting a tough hunt, even in a premier unit in a premier state.
Yeah, that's probably, okay. I said I'm never going to use a point guard. At the low point level I'm at right now, that's the case. Once I start getting 7, 8 points, if I don't somehow burn my point, then I guess I would start thinking about and just in an event like that. Because last year, Lorenzo from Go Hunt, he and I were going to go to Arizona. He drew, and I'm one of those guys. You got a late Arizona elk tag, I'm coming with you. I'm like a wood tick, man. You can't hardly get rid of me. I'm going to burrow in, and I'm going to be along for the ride. Well, he just, he looked at the points he burned and what the conditions were, and I think also he had a family member getting married near then, and so he turned the tag back in. But I think.
Certainly because of the conditions of the hunt, not just the wedding.
Yeah, weddings, that's it. People getting married all the time. If you've got that big of a yank to go to a wedding, just go to Vegas. You can sit in on all kinds of weddings.
And not during September.
No. Yeah. I'd like to do a poll of listeners. How many people got married in September? When's your anniversary?
It's not September.
Okay.
June.
Oh, mine's February.
Yep.
Yeah. See, I had that all dialed in. So, I'm just looking at Go Hunt here. They've got all the bull to cow ratios. They got the public land percentages, and then they have the harvest percentages in every unit, every hunt type. It's amazing what the harvest success rates are in Arizona.
Crazy. Yeah.
I mean, these are some of the better units here, but you're looking at an archery unit with 87% success.
In a unit that has 98% public land with a 36 to 100 bull to cow ratio.
Yeah.
And the potential of shooting a 380 plus bull.
Yeah.
87% success in a unit with 380 plus potential. That's just
odd.
Arizona manages for quality.
Yeah.
Which, in order to do that, you have to decrease the opportunity.
Right. And here's the ones I look at. Late rifle, success rate 77%. Late rifle, success 44%, 47, 52.
I mean, there's a late archery success rate of 31%. That's 3 times better than regular rut archery hunts over the counter.
Thanks for nothing, Corey.
Hey, you've given some spoiler alerts.
All right.
I just saw an opportunity there to sound like a really good guy and being generous with information.
Right. There's a whole bunch of those late archery hunts in November. I'm really tempted to try one this year. I don't know if I will, but I'm tempted. I might put it as my second choice. Just go down there and take the whole season. I think there are 10-day seasons, and just spot and stock every day.
And that late archery, it's the last part of November, first part of December, if I remember right.
Those are the late rifles, or I always start the Friday after Thanksgiving.
Okay.
And then the late archery usually runs, you can kind of roll it back. It ends usually on Thanksgiving Day and goes back 10 days. So this, I've already looked. Thanksgiving is November 28th in 2019. So, I'm checking this stuff out.
We talked a couple weeks ago about our plans. I thought they were concrete, but the last two podcasts we've done, I realize our plans for November and hunting late elk in Montana, that's a pretty fluid plan right now.
There's a lot of wiggle room there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like maybe wiggling your way out of hunting with me in November.
Yeah, depending on what happens in Arizona. You aren't going to share your points with me, so what choice do I have? It's November or bust for me.
I guess it is.
But the odds are I'll probably go with a late rifle hunt. So then we'll still be able to do Montana.
Okay.
You can come up there and we can walk around in the snow and not see anything.
Well, I just see you're hunting for 6 weeks in archery season in Montana. And now you're trying to draw a tag in November to get out of hunting. It just really seems like you're trying to get out of hunting with me.
Well, you can come with me to Arizona. We'll see if you can call one in December.
I see.
How would that work?
Yeah, I couldn't call one in for you in the peak of the rut in New Mexico in the Gila.
You tried.
I think calling in Arizona in December would be a bust.
So a couple other things. There are, and we kind of let the cat out of the bag in the last podcast about these. Quit looking.
Wow.
I know. Look
hidden gem units.
Yeah. This is
if you're not a member of Go Hunt Insider and you apply for out-of-state hunts.
This right here, this chart right there is worth the price.
Hidden gem units, elk units that have greater than 50% draw odds at 5 points.
Yeah.
That information.
I know. I mean, you could, if you want to buy the Arizona draw reports, you could accumulate this. It'd take you a week or so to put it all together.
Yep.
Or you could rely on one of those services that kind of say, yeah, well, in a ballpark.
Yeah.
So, yeah, don't. So
let's give them a couple examples here. Which one are you going to try to draw? We need to decrease the draw odds for that hunt this year so you and I can hunt together in Montana.
There we go. So here's the hunt that I drew in 2017. But I didn't draw the late rifle. I drew the early rifle. Look at the bull to cow ratio, 153 to 100.
That is, I don't think I've ever seen that.
That means there's 3 bulls for every 2 cows.
I don't think I've ever seen anything above 50 to 100.
Yeah.
153 bulls for every 100 cows.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw 1 cow while I was on that hunt. But anyhow, there's
that poor cow.
Yeah. So they do that by resident draw. And then here's the non-resident table, which I really wish they wouldn't put this non-resident table out there because this really screws up my strategies when I see, hey, Brady down at Go Hunt is who puts these together.
There is a hunt. So they're showing your odds of drawing these hunts at 5 points.
5 points.
But there are 3 hunts that are 2 to 3 points.
Yep.
There are 6 hunts that are guaranteed 100% draw with 5 points for a non-resident.
Yeah.
Just having that information, you look at it and say, I've got 3 points this year. Yeah. Gives you an idea of what units. For instance, that one is 67% if you have 3 points. It has a bull to cow ratio of 39 to 100 and harvest success rate of 34% with trophy potential of 320 plus.
Yeah.
And you can draw that with 3 points in Arizona.
I have never passed on a 320-inch bull elk in my life that I'm aware of. Well, I take that back. when I had my Unit 10 early rifle tag in Arizona, I did when I was foolish. I didn't know what I was doing. But at this point in my life, I will never pass a 320. Not saying you're going to see one, but these are... So what we're looking at here, folks, is I've got my laptop pulled up, and we're going through the Go Hunt information, just the Arizona strategy article that they put together.
Harvest success of 77% for a late archery hunt.
Mm-hmm. I know. Shut up. That's why I'm thinking about doing this stuff.
Man.
Yeah.
I need to go spend some more time on my insider account and make sure I'm going the right direction with my plan.
We should have done this after February 12th.
Yes.
So.
That's good this year. Everybody apply for Arizona this year.
Yeah, because you're not applying. Yep. I'm applying.
I'm buying a point.
I'm going... I'm just, there's never a year I'm not applying in Arizona. When you get to be my age, you just say, I'm doing it. I'm going. So there's just so many things. And you look at the amount of public land on just about all of these units, it's over 80% in just about all of them. And the beauty there compared to what I see a lot of times in Montana or Colorado or Wyoming, you spend all this time, you finally see them. And there's a no trespassing sign. It's like, dang it. Not in Arizona.
Nope.
As a general rule, you see them, you get your pack on your back, and you get over there because they're probably on public land.
Yep.
So.
And they're probably going to stay on public land. There's not a whole lot of private land they can run to hide.
No. So here, look at what this is the average throughout statewide average of bull to cow ratio is 33 bulls per 100 cows.
Yep.
Yeah, that's crazy. And then the cow to calf ratios, they say you need 20 to maintain a herd?
Yep.
35
to 100.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah.
There are more statistics just in that article than you could ever possibly extrapolate on your own going through every source that's out there with that.
Yeah. So managing points and expectations. I don't know how in depth we want to get here. So Brady always does this about, okay, if I have 0 points, what can I expect? Not a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, it just how life
you have
is.
to look at it. Half of the non-resident tags are reserved for that 1-2 pass.
Right.
And if you're guaranteed some of these late archery tags with 3 points, at 0 points, you've got a fairly decent chance of pulling a tag or two.
20% in some of them. Yeah.
20% draw odds with 0 points to draw a tag in Arizona.
Right. Yeah.
Can you imagine?
You heard it here. And then you look at, so he's got it into, okay, what can I do if I have 3 to 4 points? I don't know. So this tells me Brady's got between 5 and 9 points.
I was just going to say, you go straight from 3 to 4 to 9 or 10.
Yeah. Brady, what's the deal here? You're skipping out. But there's so many. If I don't draw this year, so I'll have 4 after this year. My odds of one of these late rifle hunts that I've always been applying on are getting really, really close. In that most of them that I apply for, it's between 5 and 7 points to be guaranteed that tag in the first pass as a non-resident. I still could draw it as in the second 1-2 pass. One of my friends from Wisconsin last year, he drew one of the late rifle tags in the same unit we were hunting, and he shot a nice 6-point bull. He said, well, I guess I'm one and done. He came over to our campfire. I said, well, Pat, you never know. Maybe next year you'll draw. He said, well, all I'll have is my loyalty point. He drew again this year.
Yeah.
It happens. That's the beauty of those kind of systems.
Well, and that's, you look at what we were looking at, those late archery hunts, that 3 of those units, you had a 65 to 75% chance of drawing with 2 or 3 points. You go take the hunter's ed class, you get a loyalty point. You have 2 points every year to apply with a 67% draw. You could draw a late season archery elk hunt in Arizona every other year guaranteed.
Right.
With a chance of drawing it back to back.
Yeah. We are really screwing this up, Corey. I know why you're flapping your soup coolers on this is because you don't want me to draw because it'll screw up our November hunt. Well, folks, once we turn off the mic, Corey and I will have a disagreement here, but try to hold my composure in the interim.
All I'm doing is making solid plans for my elk season here.
Yeah. So, with Arizona, there are these hunts that I tell people are not subject to the 10% non-resident.
See, and I think that information is more valuable than anything I've spilled so far.
So we filmed in our show. You're going to see 3 hunts that were filmed in those limited opportunity units, 2 of which we killed bulls. 1, I passed a 5x5 the first afternoon. Oh, I wouldn't want to shoot a nice 5x5 right here, all downhill to the truck. No, then the monsoon came for the next 4 days.
And you gave me a hard time for passing up a bull the first evening in Montana.
I know, but that was a lesson to me. You don't pass them up. So, but point is, we could have, if I wouldn't have screwed that up and we wouldn't have run into the next 4 days of just torrential monsoon, we would have had 100% success rate on those limited opportunity hunts with cameras in tow, with the restrictions of film permits, all that. Yep. And those draw odds as a general rule. So here's another little bit of non-resident strategy. Most non-residents use Arizona as their swing for the fences state. So guys like me who look at it as a short-term or mid-term state, I'm like, you people just keep swinging for those fences.
Keep going for Unit 9, Unit 10.
23, 27, Unit 1. None of those are secrets. Those are just everybody that's...
You want the top 5 units in Arizona? Everybody that knows anything about Arizona knows what those units are.
Exactly. You people just keep applying there.
Yep.
Because I'm going to do late rifle hunts in other units, and I'm going to go hunting there every...
Yeah, but in those other units, you're hunting much smaller bulls. You're hunting 330 to 350 bulls.
Yeah, you show me a 300-inch bull, I just about hurt myself getting in shooting position when I see a 300-inch 6x6.
And there's something to be said for that. Some people, their goal is a certain size animal, and you're going to have a better chance in those top tier units of
for sure
having more opportunities at those kind of animals.
Age classes is better. They manage for that.
For someone like Randy and I, who, we might pass up a 5-point on the first night once in a while.
Yeah, once in a while.
But for the most part, we're more than happy just to hunt elk.
Yeah.
There are some units in Arizona that you can do that very regularly that are far better in terms of quality than I would say any over-the-counter hunt I've ever been on or seen.
Yeah, way better.
Yep.
And it's harder hunting, and I get why people. So let's say you live in Illinois, Colorado is your fallback state, or Wyoming or Idaho or Montana, whatever. I can see why they're swinging for the fences in Arizona. I would too. But I get it why people do that.
Yep.
I'm not criticizing that strategy at all. What I'm saying is I like it.
Yeah.
Please keep doing it. Guys like Corey going to buy a point this year. I don't have to worry about competing with you for one of those tags. Yep. That's good for me.
And for me, Arizona is, I wouldn't say it's my swing for the fence state, but it's my state that I like big elk. Yeah. I like big bulls. Yeah. That's my state that I kind of hold out for, that I have in the past at least, and that's what I'm holding out for now, is to draw that. And I'm not going to draw one of the premier units, but I'm going to draw what I call the middle tier unit, where you have to hunt really hard and find that gem, but they hold big bulls. Last time in 2008 when I drew the unit, it's not known for big bulls. We scouted it the year before. Steve Chappell had drawn the tag. We went down during his hunt, hunted with him, and spent, I think, a day or two after his hunt just scouting the unit. And he shot a 340 bull. We saw one that was probably 360 and a ton of bulls in the 310 to 330 range.
Yeah.
And that's when I said, I'll start applying there. I only have 3 points, so if I draw it, great. And I'll hunt those bulls for on 3 points. And I ended up shooting a 390 bull on 3 points in a middle tier unit in Arizona. And so they're there. We did hunt for 10 days. I didn't shoot the bull I was hunting.
Okay.
We only saw 2 bulls over 320. And I'm throwing out all these numbers. Score's not a huge, but just to give you an idea for size, it's not like there's 370 bulls running around everywhere. We saw 2 bulls over 320. The first big one we saw, I'd kind of committed to hunt him or go home empty-handed, and they shot him in rifle season. He was 417. And the bull I shot, when he came in, I thought he was 350, maybe 360, which again, I would have shot a 320 bull, so it wasn't like I was holding out for a monster. And fortunately, there was a lot of ground growth when we walked up on him. But I say that to illustrate there are big bulls in every unit in Arizona.
There are.
And if you get lucky and hunt hard, you might be able to shoot a bull like that on 2 or 3 points.
Yeah. Well, it's from someone who's spent, I'm trying to think how many times I've either hunted there or I've helped people hunt there. I've probably been on getting close to 10 elk hunts in Arizona between my tags and friends who've had them. It's just a really fun experience to know that the next bull you see or the next bull you hear might be that one that you've dreamed about. And there's something fun about knowing that could happen.
Yeah.
It's one of the few places you go where you just can't discount.
You're smiling all day.
Yeah.
Especially on the rut hunts. I've only hunted twice with my own tags, and then I've hunted other times with other people, but they've all been rut archery hunts.
Okay.
And the number of bugles you hear in a day, and the quality, like you said, just the chance that a big bull is in that unit and you might see him. He might be the next bull that you call in. You're just walking around smiling all day. It's hard to come back to Idaho and hunt an over-the-counter hunt after drawing a tag in Arizona. And the first year we went, we had no idea where we were going. We picked a meadow. We set up tent. And that night we heard 12 or 15 bulls bugling within a half mile of our tent.
Wow.
And we hunted from the tent. And my buddy Burdett shot I think his bull was 345 from camp. We went from camp we just picked a random spot and went, and it was incredible. And people say, leave the calls at home. You can't call in elk in Arizona. They don't respond to bugles. Get a cow call a couple times, and they might come check it out. I tell you, if you can't call in an elk during the rut in Arizona, you're not going to be able to call one in anywhere else. Those elk are the most and I've hunted a handful of different units now. And again, there are changes, there are effects. The full moon there has more of an effect there than anywhere else I've seen. The drought has an effect, all of that. But every time I've been there with a bugle, it's been absolutely insane. Those elk are very responsive.
Well, if there's one downside to my strategy is Arizona gives a lot of late rifle tags.
Yeah.
You're going to have a lot of company.
Yeah.
But when I come from Montana, I'm accustomed to a lot of the definition of a lot of hunting pressure, Arizona does not know what a lot of hunting pressure, even in the late rifle hunts, unless you're sitting there on the county road, it's going to feel like a lot of hunting pressure. If you get out and walk much, relative to other states, I've not hunted elk in Idaho, but I suspect here it's pretty intense pressure.
There's pressure, but again, here there's a lot of limited access areas that you can hike into and get away from pressure, even during the general rifle.
Yeah. I get that people say if I'm going to pay that money, I'm going to take that time away from work and I'm going to go that far. I don't want to have to deal with a lot of other hunters. I'll just out hike them. I might not get there fast, but I'll get there and I'll just out hike them. And most of the late hunts that we've went on are these limited opportunity hunts. We'll see a small handful of other hunters. And I get if you're near roads, you're going to be dealing with a lot of them. The other part is Arizona, probably more so than any state I hunt in these late seasons that are my joy. The elk are predictably concentrated in Arizona more so than in other places. Yep. I can go to X number of canyons or X number of backcountry areas, and the percentage of them that will hold a bachelor group of bulls is higher than any other state I go to.
Yeah. And you just look, at hunting pressure, Idaho, Montana, you might have 20 other hunters wearing blaze orange in the same drainage as you, hunting 4 or 5 total elk.
Yeah.
And you go to Arizona and those same 20 people might be in the same drainage as you, hunting 300 elk.
Yeah.
So it's just, the number of elk that are there, the quality of the bulls. Yes, you can get into, it's harder to get away from people in Arizona, I've found.
Right.
You can only go 4 or 5 miles before you hit another road, another access point.
Yep.
But honestly, I've never seen other people more than a mile off of the roads. And it's, not to be stereotypical about Arizona hunters, but I think a lot of the people that do end up hunting there or applying there are looking for the easier hunt.
Mm-hmm.
And they're content to drive a road. They're content to sit a water hole along a road and be successful.
Right, they are. They're very successful at it.
And so that just opens a door for even more opportunity for someone who's willing to get away from that pressure just by hiking in a mile or two.
Yeah. Well, do you suppose now all the people who apply in Arizona are going to be saying, "You knuckleheads, would you just shut up?"
Again, as we go through each of these states and talk about them, we're going to highlight the benefits of applying there.
Right.
Just because we want everybody to see the opportunity that's there. Yeah. There's downside. The downside is there are way more people who are disappointed at the draw results every year in Arizona than probably any other state, because they don't manage for opportunity, they manage for quality, which means they restrict opportunity, and there's not necessarily a lot of opportunities to draw a tag.
Yeah.
You usually have to wait several years. What Randy and I are sharing are some of the ways to draw a tag in Arizona more frequently, which doesn't change necessarily anybody else's rate of drawing. If they're still putting in for the premier units, they're going to wait 15 or 18 years to get that tag.
Right. Knock yourself out.
Yeah. And somebody with 15 points is not going to apply for a late archery hunt with 67% draw odds at 2 points.
No. And that is one of the other realities is a lot of people are heavily invested in the Arizona system. They've got 10 or more points. Like you said, they're not going to apply for a late rifle hunt or a late archery hunt if they've got 12 points.
Yeah.
They could have drawn that back when they were at the 5 or 6 or 7 point level. Now they're all in.
Yeah. I'm at 11 points, 10 years of applying at $176 a year. That's $1,760, and I haven't bought a tag yet. So by the time I buy the tag, I'm $2,500 into Arizona, which really sounds expensive. But over 10 years, that's $250 a year. It's an investment to hunt an absolute incredible quality hunt.
Yeah. I never have looked at it that way. Yeah. I justify it by getting all this other opportunity out of it too. I know some people may say I have no interest in antelope or mule deer or coos deer or whatever, and that's fine. But I can get so much value out of my Arizona license. Yeah. It's crazy. And like I said, I have so much fun when I go down there in January. If it moves, it's in the frying pan. Last year, we tried to get a coos deer, but we didn't get any. We're really bad at coos deer hunters, but we're doing spot and stock with bow. It's
and
tough.
Coos deer don't bugle.
No, they don't.
So I mean that's.
And if I had the talent, maybe I have the talent. I just don't have the fortitude to sit water. I think I get one. But I'm just not there. So last year we shot some javelina, jackrabbits, cottontails, some ducks, some Mearns quail, quadrumundi. I mean, we're out there doing it. It is so much fun to just go and say, that looks edible. I mean, for me, it's almost like grouse hunting. It
almost.
Is, almost. Not quite, but it's close. And so I can easily justify the non-resident Arizona investment because of all the other fun I can have the rest of the year when I'm down there. But so you're at 11 points. So you've kind of laid out what your strategy is going to be.
And that's what I like about.
Are you going to use both of your first and second choice? Or when you do burn them?
Yep.
Okay. So you're going to.
They'll both be quality hunts I apply for first and second choice. One will be the swing for the fences.
And then the second
choice will be
you know you'd get it in the bonus pass.
I'm pretty confident we would get it this year. So
Okay.
going forward a year or two, I'm pretty much counting on drawing that tag.
Okay. Because in my mind, I'm trying to think.
When am I going to be back at 0 and how many points are you going to have? Can we apply together? Is that what you're thinking?
No, I'm not thinking that. No, heck with you. What I'm thinking is, does it, just from a strategy standpoint, if you know that you're going to draw your second choice in the bonus pass, does it do any good to even put a swing for the fences as your first choice?
Yeah, so you look at that first. And so I could put Unit 9 archery as my first choice, which is probably the hardest to draw archery tag in the state.
Right.
And there may be, for whatever reason, I may be the first person pulled in the draw.
Gotcha. Okay.
I see what you're saying, though. In the bonus pass.
Right. In the
so where you have to have max points to get it.
Right.
I'll draw my second choice tag.
And
then, so yeah, it probably doesn't do any good.
So when you'd be already out of the system because you've drawn your second choice in the bonus pass. You wouldn't even get to
Don't even have an opportunity in the 1-2 pass to draw that. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
So I guess strategy standpoint, if you've got a good share of points, if you apply for something that you know you're going to draw in the bonus pass, don't even waste one of your spots with a swing for the fences.
Yeah.
Or make both of them swing for the fences.
And that's how I've been doing it. That's why I guess where I got off on that tangent was where I haven't been guaranteed in the bonus pass. Mm-hmm. I've put a swing for the fence first choice, and then the unit that I want to draw is my second choice. Gotcha. And since I don't get considered in that bonus pass and the 1-2 pass, both of them get looked at.
Yeah, you still have really good odds in the second 1-2 pass. Okay. So.
And that's why I like Go Hunt Insider, or actually the filtering 2.0 within Insider, is I can go in there and put, I'm a non-resident, I'm interested in archery rut hunts, I have 11 points, I want a unit where I have 25% success rate or more, I want, percentage of public land, 90% or higher, and then I can start filtering based on draw odds. Yeah. And I can look, what units can I draw? Do I have 20% chance? Which units do I have 100% chance of drawing? And I can just filter it down, and they highlight on the map, and it pops up this one, Unit 11, you're 100% guaranteed to draw. This one, you're 50% guaranteed to draw. And I can look and make a strategy based on, I'm 50% on this really good unit. I might as well wait till next year, put in 12 points, it pops up, it says I'm 100%. And so I can really create a strategy just using that filtering to see how many points it's going to take for the unit if I'm honed in on a specific unit.
Huh. That's an interesting way to look at it. I just get so wound up and so greedy. I'm just look at, all right, what's the lowest point total I can possibly draw? That's where I'm going. Well, there's just so many options. The beauty of Arizona is you can make it certainly a mid-range goal. If you want to, you can make it a long-term goal. I think there's even some of those limited opportunity hunts are almost a short-term goal.
Or late archery that we were looking at. I mean, when we're looking, you can own 2 bonus points for the rest of your life. Yeah. And you can draw some of these late archery hunts with really good hunting, really high bull-to-cow ratios, really high success rates for 3 points. Yeah. That's a short-term strategy.
Yeah, that's short-term.
Yeah.
That's why I'm thinking about it.
Which is what, once I burn my high concentration of points.
So here's the deal. You burn that high concentration of points, and we'll go down there for late archery hunts in November every year.
Be great.
Every year that we can draw.
Every other year.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
And that way we won't be hunting in minus 17 degree weather and 3 feet of snow in Montana in November.
Probably not. Yeah, I'm going to try to talk you out of just buying a point this year. Did you look at
do it?
Go to your Go Hunt Insider and look at the precipitation of what they've received so far this year.
And the moon phase is good. The hunt dates are good.
Yeah.
My schedule isn't good.
You must really have some hotshot hunt lined up in September somewhere then.
No, I'll be hunting here in my backyard because I've hopefully spent my 2 weeks of vacation outside of the state somewhere else.
All right. Well, I'm just
It's for a purpose. There's a bigger purpose here. We're doing the Destination Elk video project, and
you don't think that the Destination Elk people would want to see you down in Arizona in September?
I'll be there. Just with our theme this year of hunting all three species.
Make that your Rocky.
I know, but I don't have Thule elk or Roosevelt in Idaho, and I don't want to be away from home.
I gotcha.
That much this fall.
Your being away from home thing, that's the only thing I'm going to allow you a mulligan on.
See? I can come up with good justification.
That's okay. I go with that. So, folks, go out and look at the moisture patterns since about last September. If it continues, and they just got a foot of snow there just this week. In fact, down where I'm going, Coos Deer hunting, they sent me a picture. My buddy Denver Bryan sent me a picture. He's down there. Oops, he's going to be mad. I told the world where he hunts. Sorry, Denver. He's got 4 inches of snow down there at 4,500 feet in southern Arizona. They got blanketed again.
Wow.
If this winter continues to be a wet winter, 2019 is going to be the year you want to have an elk tag. That's the other reason why I'm thinking I got to figure out a way to be in Arizona, even if I got to apologize to my buddy Corey that, hey, I can't make this.
I'll forgive you.
So
no, that's something that's probably important to bring up when we talk about Arizona is the water. Arizona doesn't have running water like you're used to in Wyoming or Colorado or Montana or Idaho, where we have snowpack and streams that are running off still in September.
Right.
And in Arizona, there is I almost said no natural water. There's very, very little natural water.
Right.
Most of them are man-made. They call them tanks, but it's basically just a pond that they've dug out. A lot of times they'll truck water in by a water tanker and fill these tanks with water so that the cattle and the wildlife have water.
Yeah.
And they're concentrated around that. So if you're on a really dry drought year, that's what I said earlier. So many hunters are concentrated there because that is the only source of water for the wildlife. Yeah. They can't stay up there and find a spring or a wallow. They come to these ponds every day for water.
Yeah. Well, for me, when I see a year lining up like Arizona is right now, and New Mexico had a good monsoon season, that winter range carries in. It's just what you can look at these and predict, unless it just completely dries up, you're going to see some tremendous recovery of animals in Arizona this year, and I want to be there.
Yep. And the other thing to look at that I always look at, especially in those drought climates, the desert habitat states, I look at moon phase and hunt dates. And Arizona, they it's based off of, you might know more than I am, when the actual archery season starts, but it's like 17 weeks after the last Friday of this. I mean, it's just this algorithm. Right. So it shifts every year, and it's a 13-day season, I think, 14-day season. And so if it opens on the 13th, it closes on the 26th. And the next year it might open on the 14th and close on the 27th. And in Arizona, the later in the month of September you can go and hunt, the better you're going to be.
Yeah.
And if that late season coincides with no full moon during the peak of the rut, it's even that much better.
Yeah.
And this year looks like it's going to be a good year. You add the moisture to it, and this is a year to apply for Arizona.
The other reason that Arizona is going to have better than average draw odds, well, we're screwing it up, but if it wasn't for our big mounds, is this year a lot of their early rifle muzzleloader and rifle hunts are in their premium units.
Yep.
And that's got everyone licking their chops, saying that's what I want. So these mid-tier units are going to be a little more overlooked in here like this. So these are all little itty-bitty things
that's something we didn't mention. They rotate which units have the prime rut muzzleloader hunts every year. So it was every 3 years the unit gets a prime muzzleloader hunt. And the next year it gets a prime rifle hunt. And so just paying attention to that and realizing Unit 9 might not have an early rifle hunt this year. It might be a muzzleloader rut hunt.
Right.
And
yeah, those little things there are, to me,
they sway the draws.
Yeah, and people say, well, that might make a 1 or 2% difference. Well, guess what? Out of 100 applications, which over the course of 2 years, I do 100 applications. If that's 2% difference, that means that's 2 extra tags. I'm going to get that. It's just my simple math doing it that way.
That's an accountant's view.
So I'm telling them what my strategy is with low points. You're telling them what your strategy is. I'm going to say anything over 10 is high points. Yeah. If someone had 7 points or 6 points, what would be your strategy in Arizona?
I would go into filtering 2.0 and go hunt. And I would put in, I have 7 points as a non-resident. And I'd grab the little slider that says draw odds, and I'd start at 100% and see what I could draw at 100%.
Okay.
And depending on if I wanted early archery, late archery, whatever it was, I would just click on those. And then I'd just start filtering down and seeing, okay, I'm at 7 points. Here are the 4 hunts I'm guaranteed to draw.
Right.
Do any of those interest me? What's the bull to cow ratio in those units? What's the harvest rate? All of those, how many tags total? Because there's some units down there that have pretty decent harvest rates, have good bull to cow ratios, that you're going to have 400 other hunters in that unit with you at the same time.
Yeah.
And if I had that apples to apples to another unit that only had 75 tags, I'd probably lean towards one with 75 tags, even if it was a little lower harvest rate, just so I have the opportunity to get away from people.
Yeah. No, I think that'd be a good idea. I think I'd almost have to add the additional caveat of, is it somebody who lives in a state where they can hunt elk every year?
Yeah.
Versus someone who lives in a state where they can't.
Yeah.
I'd also say, are you primarily a rifle hunter or are you primarily an archery hunter? So it'd almost be like at my CPA firm when people ask me a question, I say, it depends. Let me ask you some more questions and then we'll give you an answer. But if I lived in some non-elk state and I had 7 points and I was a rifle hunter, I wouldn't even hesitate. I'd be doing one of the late rifle hunts in Arizona, especially on a year that's shaping up like this one could be. You've got a lot more hunting pressure. You're there after the early hunts of maybe all units have a September archery hunt. Maybe the unit had a few tags given for an early rifle or early muzzleloader hunt. But you're still hunting the same herd of elk. There are still great age classes there. Yeah, you're going to have a lot more competition. They're going to be pressured. It's a shorter season. The conditions are not as favorable. But if you're a rifle hunter,
you're used to that anyways. You aren't rifle hunting somewhere where you don't have other hunting pressure, where you don't have weather concerns. I mean, if you're a rifle hunter, that's par for the course.
Yeah. If I had 5 to 7 points and I lived in a state where I knew I was going to go elk hunting anyhow, I'd probably do a little bit of swing for the fences.
Yeah.
I'd probably put my first choice as a unit, unit 1 or 10 or 23, whatever those. And when we're saying these top 5 units, there's no secret. Okay. If you hunt unit 1, 9, 10, 23, or 27, that's just about everybody's application in Arizona has at least one of those units on it. So
first choice or second choice.
You can almost find it written on bathroom walls and truck stops. Here's Arizona's best 5 units. So we're not giving away any secrets there.
And if you have a lot of points, I'm sitting on 11. I could probably draw unit 1, unit 27 in the next 3 years for archery. The unit I'm looking at, and I may change my, I'm going to look when I'm ready to draw at those units and see how they're trending. But right now I'm still stuck on that middle tier unit that doesn't take quite that many points. I've got enough to draw it. I'm not able to yet. Again, that unit that I'm looking at, I've been there twice. I know it. I'm familiar with it. I know there's not as many big bulls as there will be in unit 1 or 27 or 3A, 3C, or some of the other units that
I forgot about that one.
Yeah. Good quality. But I think that with my experience there, with my expectations there, I'm not going there to shoot a 390 bull. Yeah. I'm going there to shoot something that, in my eye, when it comes in, if it's 330 to 350, I'm more than happy with it.
Yeah.
And I think for me, that's why I'm holding out for Arizona for a better hunt. I don't have points in any other quality state other than Nevada, which I'm still several years away. So I want to hold out and have a quality hunt. Then I fill in for 5 or 6 years with medium, middle tier hunts.
Okay.
And then I go to Nevada and shoot another big bull, hopefully. And so I'm strategic in the quality of the hunt and the opportunity for bigger bulls, realizing that's not my goal in hunting life. I want to shoot a couple big bulls, and I can spread those out every 6 or 8 years maybe and have good quality hunts in between.
Yeah. So with that, would you rather hunt, and you've kind of given what the answer is, would you rather swing for the fences and get your one crack at a unit you've never been to, or go for something where you've went to school there twice now?
Yeah. And I like going to new places. I think I hunt harder in new places. I think I have potential to do better in new places because I don't know it and I'm not stuck in a rut. When I go back and hunt the same places, I go right back to the exact same drainage. I don't stray from it. I know there's elk here. I go in there and hunt them. And I think sometimes I miss out on finding a prime new area because I don't venture from that. I don't like change. I like new things, but I don't like change. So once I experiment or experience something, I tend to go back to that same place. And
okay. So what do you think is your better odds of filling a tag out of those two scenarios? And what gives you the better odds of possibly finding an above average bull?
See, I'm not a trail camera guy that goes and sets up on a water hole and monitors a specific bull. Mm-hmm. And I'm more than happy to go into a unit, whether I've been there or not before, and blindly walk in there on the first day of the hunt and hunt without any scouting or anything. So I don't know that one lends more towards the other as far as a bigger bull. I think having hunted an area before and understanding where they bed, where they rut, which is historically the same year after year, gives me an advantage to be able to be into elk on the first morning and hunting them. So I think I'm probably more likely to fill a tag in an area I've been to before. As far as finding a big bull, where I don't scout for specific bulls, I think it's a matter of luck. Just more opportunities I can create, the more elk that I get in front of me, the chance that one of them is going to be a big one.
All right. Luck.
Good luck.
We just tell people, we count on getting lucky.
The big bull I shot in Arizona, I had never seen it before.
Yeah.
It came into 40 yards. I'd never seen it before. I popped out from around the tree and looked at it and thought, he's narrow, but he's got something weird going on with his thirds. And he turned sideways and he had long beams and tall fourths. And I thought, that's a big bull. Yeah. I'm going to shoot him. I shot him. He scored 390. There was no scouting involved. We hunted hard for 10 days. We covered a lot of country. But I just happened to be in the right place at the right time, and that bull was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
So that gets me to a question, and I suffered this same dilemma, same agony when I had an early rifle tag in Unit 10. Do you think that people have a tendency to possibly have, I don't know if unrealistic expectations is the right thing, but do they, one, put too much pressure on themselves? Possibly, because I think about it. When the drawing results come out, you hear people, I have blah, blah, blah tag. And they're so excited about that. It's almost as if that was the accomplishment. Yeah. And then they go and hunt. And I've had people tell me it was the most stressful hunt I've ever been on. So there's a little bit of that. And then there's this perception that there is a 350-inch bull in every little drainage on every ridge in Arizona. Yep. And maybe there is, but I've walked a lot of those drainages and a lot of those ridges, and I see above average number of really nice bulls, but still not a lot of them.
Yeah, not that 350 caliber and up.
No, if I went there thinking every day I'm going to see a 350 bull, by the third day I'd be so dejected and disappointed I'd probably pack up and go home. Yeah. Do you think that's...
So I'll share my experience, and people may have heard this story before, but the first time we drew Arizona, it was Unit 1. Everyone we talked to said Unit 1 has monsters. There's 2 or 3 400-inch bulls every year shot in Unit 1. And it was my one chance. It was my one time, first time ever going out of state, first time ever applying for a controlled hunt, and here I drew it. Mm-hmm. And so I set my goal at 350 inches. So I set a score. I said, I'm going to Arizona and I'm not shooting a bull unless it's 350 inches. So we hunted. First day was really windy. Second day, Ralph, one of the guys that drew with me, shot a bull. Third day, Burdette shot his bull, 345, right behind camp. We had the next, I believe, 11 days to hunt with just my tag.
Oh.
And I said, perfect. I've got two guys here that are experienced elk hunters. I've got a tag. We're in elk heaven. I'm going to shoot my 350-inch bull. So the very next night, we're calling. A bull comes out into a meadow. I look across the meadow 300 yards through the binoculars. I'm like, that's him. He's 350 inches. Huge tops, great big fourths on there. And just that whole, he's coming into this beautiful meadow with aspens behind him, walking across head back bugles like 6 times, coming across the meadow right to our calls. And I had already made up my mind. And he came in to, I think, 45 yards. The little bull was there. He ran the little bull off, stops broadside. I pull back and shoot. And he runs off. And I'm like, I made the comment to Ralph, if he's not 350 inches, he's not 300 inches. Mm-hmm. And we were talking about these huge fourths. We walk up on him. He has 7-inch eye guards. He has a 7-inch third. He's got huge fourths.
Yeah.
He scored 308 inches.
Wow.
And I was completely devastated because I'd set a goal at 350 inches.
Really?
I missed out, complete letdown on my hunt of a lifetime. And the whole drive home, I was bummed at the hunt. We had an incredible hunt, and I was disappointed. And when I drew it 3 years later, I made sure that my expectations were realistic.
Okay.
There was no score involved.
Yep.
I was not going there to shoot a bull of a certain score caliber. It was, in my mind, if I see a bull that I think is in the 320-inch range, I'm going to shoot him. And I don't care if he scores 290 or 390, I'm going to be happy with him because I made the decision to shoot him not based on score, but based on, in my mind, what I thought was a representative, realistic bull for that hunt.
Yeah.
And, of course, it's easy to come back from that and have shot a 390 bull and say that was a great hunt. But throughout the entire hunt, there was no pressure. Yeah. I was completely content to come home with my tag on that hunt if I didn't find a bull that I thought I wanted to shoot.
Yeah.
And so I think managing those expectations is so important. That's helped me through a lot of other hunts, that when I draw these tags now, it's not about a score. I'm going there looking for a specific bull that on that day I think is great and I want to shoot.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter what it scores. And once I pull the trigger, I already know in my mind, I'm looking at him, I'm making the decision to shoot, and I'm 100% happy with it the second I pull the trigger.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what he scores, doesn't matter if he shrinks when I walk up on him or if he grows.
Yeah.
And so, I think that you get on these hunts with 15 points and you're expecting a 400-inch bull and you go there and you settle for a 320-inch bull on the last day, you had a terrible hunt. But in reality, if you look at it from what you got to experience and from what you ended up coming home with, you had a phenomenal hunt.
Right. Yeah, and that's probably my biggest concern with some of these states. I'd say Utah and Nevada fall into that same category, where people just think, "Wow, I've got this tag. If I don't shoot whatever size that they've read about or some friend told them about." I've had so many glory tags. Some of them are still in my desk drawer. Some of them, I've shot nice elk, but after the Unit 10 hunt that I had, the early rifle, it was crazy. Scouting, and this was one of the downsides of, I mentally was not ready for this. We went scouting, and my buddy Walt called in a bull that was just, to this day, I'm trying to think if I've ever seen a bull that impressive out in the wild, come into 30 yards. It was 2 nights before season open. Archery season was still open. And this thing he was mad. He was letting the world know, I'm here to, I'm going to stomp someone into the dirt, make a mud hole out of that boy. And so in my mind, that was the bull.
Yep.
And there's parts of me that say, oh, that was probably the right thing to do. But I'd never hunted a unit that had this opportunity or this quality before. So I was a babe in the woods for all practical purposes, even though in Montana I'd shot, quite a few elk. Get down there opening morning, there's a really nice bull, and I passed. And I think it's then the second morning, the bull I ended up shooting on the last day, I passed him. And he didn't have a broken fifth on that day. All because I'm thinking, I'm going to find this big one. I'm going to find this big one. But I was feeling, as the days are trickling by, I'm starting to feel pressure.
Yeah.
I'm feeling that, Randy, you had him. He was there. He's here. And if you don't get him, you've failed. I just had a feeling that if that bull doesn't fall to my bullet, I'm just... And it did take a lot of the fun out of just the pure unadulterated, just fun.
The fact that you're still calling in 6 bulls a day, beautiful, mature 6 points, it's not fun because you're focused so much on that one.
Right. And now I look back at it, I think that was a lot of fun to be there and call in that many elk, but I wasn't appreciating it at the time. Yep. I was stressing myself over it. And the last day I ended up shooting a very nice bull. He's got 55-inch main beams, short thirds. Now he's got a broken fifth from when I passed on him a couple days earlier. And he's a nice bull, really a nice bull. But when I left there, then I almost felt like I had to make some qualifying statement of why I shot it. And I did learn a ton from that experience, though. It went right to what you were saying. Hunt for what I want to hunt for. Don't throw some number. Don't put some whatever on there.
And maybe somebody, their goal is to shoot a 375-inch bull.
Right.
And they pass up a 365-inch bull looking for that. And they won't ever get that goal of 375 if they shoot the 365. So, I mean, everybody has their goals and what success means to them. I learned a ton the first time I had an Arizona tag about what success meant to me and what it doesn't mean.
Right. And so I guess the summary that someone could take away from that is, if you're going to go there and you have one of these tags, you swung for the fence and you hit the home run with drawing the tag, go there and make sure it's fun. Yeah. Don't stress yourself. You'll probably shoot the same quality of animal whether you stress about it or don't stress about it. So
might as well enjoy it.
Yeah. So well, I would hope that everybody listening is putting Arizona on their list after this, because in the prior podcast, I think we said that Arizona, if you had just $1,000, Arizona would still be one of your states you'd apply for.
If I had $500, Arizona would be one of the states.
And with that, we've made mention of the Go Hunt Insider. Go out there and use promo code Elk Talk and get your $50 store credit. Another thing that is really helpful that I've used in Arizona is my Onyx system with the aerial maps and the road systems. Because I can almost predict, based on what I see with the road systems and using the hybrid map layer that has the topo lines along with the satellite imagery, I can almost predict where those elk are going to be.
I was just going to say, think if you're hunting the rut, look for the dark green north slopes.
Yeah.
And look where the roads are and find the dark green north slopes away from the roads. Yeah. You will be into elk opening morning without any scouting.
Yeah.
And late season, it's just the opposite.
Right. In the late season, find where the canyons are or find where the steep faces are in the places where there aren't many roads or that are a distance from a road, and be diligent in your glassing, and you're going to find elk. Yep. And so those are two tools that I know we talk about them a lot, but I wouldn't talk about them if I didn't think they were that useful.
We rely on them. I mean, we really do. It's not listen, if you want a good chance of drawing a tag and you're investing $1,000 into the draw system or $500 or whatever, $150 for all the tools you need for both planning the application strategy as well as scouting, preseason scouting, e-scouting.
Yeah.
It's a pretty small investment.
Yeah.
And it's invaluable
And
for what we do.
So for those of you who are saying, enough already, we've heard enough about it, during this planning part of the season, you're going to hear a lot about it.
Because we're on it every day.
Yeah, that's why you're hearing about it so much. And if you go out to onxmaps.com and use promo code Elk Talk,
yep, save you 20%.
and Corey will party app with you in Arizona. You heard it here, folks. Corey's offering up his Arizona points.
After I draw this time, yep, I will party with anybody that has 6 or more points for a late archery hunt. Which, if I time it right, if I draw in 2 years and you don't draw, you'll have 5 points.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be perfect.
No, if you've got your one, no, the only way I'm party apping with you, and I have more points, you're going to get the hunter ed class.
I know where that was going.
That's going to be the bait.
Okay.
I'd be more than happy to party app with you. If I had 5 and you burn yours, I'll party app with you, but you got to promise me you're going to get the hunter ed.
You got to bring
point.
2 in with me, huh?
You don't have to. It's my way of getting you to go take that hunter ed point, and you should do it anyhow.
And honestly, when I go to that strategy where I'm trying to draw a tag every 2 or 3 years in Arizona, I will take the hunter's ed class.
All right. So we've got the world excited about Arizona. I hope. I'm so excited.
You almost talked me into applying for Arizona this year.
If I don't draw, I'm finding somebody who will let me be their camp cook. And I'm showing up. I'm going to be in Arizona in November or early December.
You're going to be in Arizona in November during the week that you and I have scheduled to hunt in Montana, no matter what it takes.
No, if I don't have the tag, we're going hunting in Montana in November. But if I do have the tag, we might have to hunt Montana early November. But I'm that late season next year that starts the day after Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
I don't care who it is who has the tag. Hey, folks, if you draw the late season, I'm looking to be somebody's camp cook. I'll go there, I'll glass, I'll pack, I'll do whatever.
Wow.
Yeah.
You just threw this out there to the general public. Again, you could get some psycho axe murderer
that's fine. You should read my emails based. Did you see my deal on 60 Minutes last month?
Did I see your deal on 60 Minutes? I didn't know you were on 60 Minutes.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, I was on 60 Minutes talking about wolf reintroduction. So,
oh, really?
Yeah. In normal, big media stuff, they interview you for 2 hours on a topic. I talked about how litigation of wolf, the ridiculous amount of litigation, made it where never again will we reintroduce another species in Montana, Idaho, or Wyoming. We've been burned. So that was what my interview was about.
Yeah.
They grabbed 3 lines completely disconnected to anything I talked about, and that's what's on 60
And you said,
Minutes.
I think we should wipe them all out off of the planet.
No, I didn't say that. I said that, and I attributed this to a guy who shall remain anonymous, but he's a well-known researcher in the Yellowstone area, studies migrations, and he was interviewed by National Geographic magazine, and they said, well, what do you think of these wolves now that you've studied them so much? He said, contrary to popular belief, they don't all have a rainbow shooting out their ass. They're wolves. Wolves are wolves. And so the 60 Minutes folk queued me up to answer that question about 5 different ways, and every time I attributed it to this biologist. Well, they didn't take the whole context.
They just took your statement.
Right. So my point is, if you want to read some really colorful emails, you should have seen my emails the night of and the day after that aired as Randy Newberg, the Wolf Hunter. I've got people. One person said they're coming to whoop my back. They're gonna give me a good old country butt whooping.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I emailed them. I emailed them back. I said, below is my address and my phone number. You're number 44 on the list.
I will call you when it's your turn.
No, I said, let me know when you're coming, because past history, the other 43 never show up. So I'll make room for you. That's me and my big mouth. I don't know how we got on that. Something about...
I don't either. something about 60 Minutes and you hunting elk with an axe murderer in Arizona.
There you go. You came up with that. Yeah. An axe murderer is the least of my worries compared to all of the threats I get. It's crazy. It shows you how unhinged some people are. And I have this theory that America always was a little bit unstable. It's just now we have a mechanism by which to express it and prove it.
It used to be you only saw these people at county fair time.
Right, exactly.
Now they have a computer and they can express themselves all year long.
Yeah, the carny running the tilt-a-whirl, dude, now people can prove who they really are through social media. So a lot of people say, I've joked about some of these crazies, and they said, well, it's terrible now how crazy people are because of social media. And I'm thinking, no, I knew a lot of pretty crazy people who were slightly off the rail to start with. Yeah. They just didn't have a Twitter account or a Facebook page or a Instagram or email or whatever. So I don't know.
Even when it first came out, they weren't smart enough to figure out how to use it. But now it's so easy for everybody to use.
That's true. Where I grew up, that would, a non-party line was a pretty high-tech invention where I grew up. So, all right, before we go further down the road of Randy's below-average upbringing, where we all grew up on the wrong side of the tracks, let's. You want to do the Sitka question first or the RMEF?
We'll start with the Sitka question. So,
all right.
Sitka question for the week.
I hope it doesn't stretch my brain like on the last podcast.
It's going to, actually.
Who was that? Chris? Was that his name?
Clint, I believe.
Clint, man, that was a mind bender. And I'm sure I ruined our audience following the way I answered it.
No, I think you answered it really well. You got very passionate about it.
Yeah.
That's good.
All right.
So this one, I think, may elicit the same kind of passionate response. And the reason I picked it was we're talking about Arizona.
Yep.
And when we were there, we drove in on this road. So we'd found this big bull that ended up scoring 417. They shot him in rifle season, but he was still alive in archery season. We called him in to 45 yards on video. He had one more step to take, would have cleared the tree, and I would have had a broadside shot. And I was at half draw with my bow up, and he sensed something was wrong, and he turned and trotted off. So I dedicated the rest of my season to hunting that bull. So we went in. I knew he had to be going to water somewhere. There had to be water in there. We ended up finding a water hole with a 2-track road leading to it.
Yeah, which if you see a map of Arizona and you see a little stem road that goes somewhere and it dies, expect there's water right there.
Yep. So we found the road, and I said, let's take a chance. That bull's probably going to this water. Let's just go in here after dark and just listen for bugles. And as we were going in there, there's a truck parked on the way into the road, and they have a sign out next to their truck that says, hunting the water hole ahead, please stay out. So they had kind of claimed that water hole. They were on it actively, and we did. We backed out. I'm like, I don't want to go driving in past somebody sitting there. The road goes right by the water hole.
Yeah.
But the next day, we went in there and parked in the same place just to walk in on the road. And as we're walking in, here comes 2 UTVs, drive right by us, right by that. And I thought, they saw our truck out there.
Yeah.
We didn't have a sign out, obviously, saying don't come in here, but it just, brought up a lot of thoughts when you're hunting in an area like that where everything's pretty accessible. Where do you draw the line on ethics? What is the best way to handle something like that? So the Sitka question of the episode comes from Ben, and he said maybe we could start a discussion on hunting ethics, not necessarily on rights or wrongs with game and country, but to each other as hunters. And he talks about having all these stories about people walking in. He said one time I was parked at a trailhead hours before daylight when a couple guys drove in, waved high, and basically told me they'd hung their tree stands there and that gave them a right to hunt in front of me, even though I was clearly there before them and waiting. I think there should be some sort of hunting code. And he talked about, people putting signs up and then other people walking right by them, ATVs going in on gated roads when people are hiking in there and all of that. So he said a little mutual respect should be talked about from time to time, and maybe you two could start the conversation.
So that's interesting. And you pulled that because on my Hunt Talk podcast, I had a person email me and said, it's great that, and I don't want to say he blamed me. He gave me way more credit than I deserve. He said, I think a lot of people in the last 10 years have gotten into this whole public land backcountry experience because of you. So I think you have some responsibility to hold this discussion. Well, I wish I had that much power and influence, but I don't. But anyhow, we did have the discussion. And his point was, I love seeing a new cadre of young hunters, new hunters, whether they're, he said new, not young, new people who are into this whole backcountry roadless experience. But I think they need to develop a set of etiquette and protocol that you don't just go barging through. You don't just stomp here, stomp there, and say, oh, well, I covered 12 miles today. And in the process, you messed up other people's hunts. And so he went into a very good articulation of why it's worth having this discussion. And he worded it very well. I was so impressed with the way he worded it. And it kind of like this one is, realizing that, hey, it's public land and I don't own it. Yeah. And when you hunt public land, you realize there's going to be some people who just, that's how they're wired. Yeah. I've had it, and it's been on film where people came and set up 100 yards in front of me. And I've had all kinds of crazy things like that happen. And
when we were in New Mexico, we're moving in on the herd of elk, the bull's bugling down there, we have the wind good, and all of a sudden we look on the ridge and there's two guys racing us, like running down the ridge trying to get ahead of us and be the first ones to the elk. Yeah. With the wind wrong, they go in there and bust all the elk out, they run onto private land. And that's just that's a selfish attitude that's not necessarily triggered by hunting. That's a personality, that's a characteristic that those individuals possess, and as hunters, that's what gets displayed.
Yeah, and I suspect there's times where people mess up. I've probably messed up someone's hunt before when I didn't know they were there. My rule is, if I know somebody's there and they got there before me, I'm going to go find my other place. All right, I should have got out of camp earlier. I should have woke up earlier. Shame on me. Or I didn't, I stopped too many times on my way up the ridge and I got up there and someone's on the glassing knob, whatever it might be. I'm not going to set up shop right next to somebody who's been there. The flip side of that is I've heard people say, I went and set up 4 blinds this week to reserve this many water holes or this many tree stands or to kind of lay claim this. That's BS too. That's as much BS in Idaho, the other way as...
If you set up an antelope blind, it's public property.
Oh, really?
And so you don't get to claim it because it's there. Somebody else can go and sit in your antelope blind if you're not there, if you leave it there to kind of claim your spot. And so it's, there are some laws that try to mitigate some of the gray area on when it comes to ethics and respect, but it really just comes down to, I don't like confrontation.
Right.
I don't want to get in an argument with somebody out in the woods. I want to avoid that at all costs. And so if somebody is parked at the trailhead, I'm not even going to take the chance that they might think that I'm coming in behind them or trying to ruin their hunt. I'm like you. I'm going to go find plan B and hunt there. And we saw that in Oregon this year, opening day of Roosevelt elk hunting. I think we went to plan E. We were in the 5th location before we got to a spot that didn't have other people there. We could have easily went hunted and got away from them within 20 minutes of hiking, never saw them again. Mm-hmm. But just the thought of they were there first, we don't know what direction they're going. Yeah. They've got access and rights to that area today.
So out on our forum, this topic came up. And I can't remember if it was because of me mentioning it on the podcast, but anyhow, the example, and I've seen it, is, well, what do you do when the guy goes and sets up his wall tent at the trailhead and pretty much claims he owns all 30 square miles back behind that trailhead? Well, my comment to that is, if that person sets up a wall tent at a trailhead, a big trailhead, they're fools, first of all. Yeah. They're not going to get a lot of sleep. And if you think that's going to deter people, shame on you.
Yeah. And again, that's a different situation. I think you have to judge each situation for what it is.
Right.
If somebody's parked at the end of a road and there's no trailhead, it's just a drainage that they're hunting right there, you back out and let them have it. It's not big enough for two people. If you try to go around it, your scent's going to go down and ruin their side of it.
Yeah.
If you're at a trailhead that accesses 7 mountain lakes in different directions and multiple drainages off of that, you can expect you're going to have some traffic coming by your base camp.
Yeah, and don't give them the sour look or say anything when they come marching by your tent.
Yep.
It just, wow.
And I've had situations like that where we've got up there and said, hey, guys, we plan on going back in here. You're here first. Which way are you going? You tell us, we'll go the opposite way. We wanted to go this way, but if you're going there, go there and we'll go the other way.
Yeah. And we were in Utah on that bison hunt last year, or just in October. And we see some people glassing some bison to the west. Okay. So we drive over on this old road and we park and we're glassing some bison to the uphill to the east. Well, those guys see us loading our packs and getting ready, and they jump on a side-by-side. And as we start walking up the hill, we're not familiar with the road system. They come burning by us, and they go around the knob and park, and they just start boogieing up the hill to get in front of us. And as borderline adolescent as that was, I'm like, I don't want a conflict.
Yep.
So we were just waiting. We were catching up to the person. And it wasn't because I wanted to run over the top of him. If he was going to go left, I was going to go right. If he was going to go high, I was going to go low. But this guy got so wound up about us being nearby, he just kept trucking, and then finally he disappeared. He went around the mountain and spooked some bison. And there was a part of me who felt bad, thinking, did he feel that we were pressuring him that hard? Well, no. If he would have stopped right at where he drove by us on his side-by-side, I would have said, hey, where are you going? We'll go the other direction.
I'll give you first choice. There's plenty here for both of us. Let's just help each other out.
Yeah. So I guess hunters, we're probably no different. And I always say this, we're no different than the cross-section of the rest of society. Yeah. We're going to have our share of people who are wired a little bit differently. And as much as you want to...
and stopping and calling them out on it, it's not going to change them. It's going to, they're going to bristle up even more against it, and you're the bad guy, and you're in the wrong. And so I do think, there's some opportunities for education for newer hunters coming in that might not understand.
Right.
And I've ran into that where somebody comes up there and it's like, you're walking in, the wind's blowing right to the elk we were calling to. You want to get mad at them, call them idiots and everything. And they're like, oh man, I'm so sorry. I didn't even... How do you know which way the wind's blowing?
Yeah.
And they just don't know some of the things that we take for granted. And so I think if we can help educate them before they get out in that situation and make that mistake, like you said, we're going to have that 1% out there that no matter what, they feel entitled to everything, and everybody else is at their footstool. And nothing gets my blood pressure higher than someone who says, They give you it's public land, and they just come and set up right beside you, or walk right through where you were doing your call. Or it's a free country.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Yep.
Yeah, but
sometimes the consequences that come to you.
You might not get that pot knot today, but someday someone's going to put a knot on your head big enough you could hitch a trailer to, pal. It's not me, but somebody.
Yeah. So Ben, great question.
Yeah.
We probably spent a little more time on this one than we do on most of the questions of the episode, but it's probably one that could have a whole episode devoted to it.
I think we ought, since this is the Sitka question of the whatever
episode week.
Yeah, we should tell Sitka, you guys answer these for us.
Put them out there in the driver's seat.
Yeah. All right. Elk Foundation Access Project to talk about. And this one's near and dear to my heart because I've spent a lot of time deer hunting up here. We've filmed one elk hunt up near here, not on this spot, but it's called the Wild Horse Ranch. It's up north of Elko. And the Nevada Department of Wildlife, Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation, and a very conservation-minded landowner said, you know what, we want to do the right thing by this. And so the U.S. Department of Agriculture, the NRCS, Natural Resources and Conservation Services, part of that, they have money. Well, maybe they don't know, the government shut down right now, but anyhow, in the budgets, they have money that gets allocated towards these conservation access and easements. And this one here called the Wild Horse Ranch, and I can't overstate how important it is that we have these kind of landowners who have this stewardship ethic through this project. Now there's 19,000 acres of public land in one of the most popular elk hunting units in Northeast Nevada that has way, way better access than it ever did. And it's not the Elk Foundation who does all that. It's not all their money, but they're the catalyst. They're the group that has the specialty. They have the lands people. They have the attorney. They know how to put these deals together.
Yeah. And they have the connections to be able to reach out and know where other grants, where other monies might be able to come in, where other agencies or organizations can jump in and help out.
Yeah. And they have over 30, now they're going on their 35th year. They've built the trust with a lot of these landowners who are interested in the longer term protection or conservation of their lands. And their track record, once you get that track record, people can look at it and say, these folks must know what they're doing. And
35 years, 90% of your funds go back into the ground.
Yeah. So if you want to burn your Nevada points here, I will be your camp cook. I'll wash your linens. I'll do whatever if I can join you on that hunt.
I don't think when you have 4 or 5 elk points in Nevada, it's called burning them.
Okay. If you luck out.
I was going to say, if Lady Luck shines on me and I completely beat any odds and draw that tag with 5 points, then...
well, this is, in Idaho here, you guys are the beneficiaries of that whole Bruno
absolutely.
River, Owyhee River drainage, all that.
All of it.
So all of this stuff that's this Wild Horse Project is up at the headwaters of all that stuff.
And all of those elk are absolutely spilling over into Idaho.
How do I get a tag for that?
It's probably harder to draw in Idaho than in Nevada.
Okay. Well, darn. Well, that's an example of where your donations or your volunteerism or your sponsorship, whatever it is, in any way that you support the Elk Foundation, that's just on the ground examples of how it's helping hunting, access, wildlife, so many things.
And it's $35 a year to be a member of the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation. And I've said it multiple times, but if you are an elk hunter and not a member of the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation, I make up some pretty good justification and excuses. I don't think there's going to be one that's going to be able to hold a candle for why you're not a member. So go to rmef.org. Become a member for $35. You're going to get the Bugle magazine. They usually have some kind of a promotion where you're going to get a knife or something that's probably worth more than $35 right there.
Right.
And your money is going back into conservation of elk and elk habitat. So if you're already a member, volunteer. Find your local chapter, committee. Go and ask them what projects they have that you can be involved in. Spend a Saturday out planting,
whatever it is.
Yep. And if you volunteered, if you go to the local chapter banquets, if you're doing all that, consider being a life member.
Yeah.
And I signed up just this last year at our local banquet, and I've been a member for more than 25 years.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, it just worked out this year, and I decided to become a life member.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, you're guaranteed to shoot more elk then.
Oh, yeah, thank you. I won't say how many years it's been since I didn't fill an elk tag, but the year that I signed up to be a life member of the Elk Foundation is the first year in a long, long time that I didn't fill a tag. So I'm doing my part for conservation,
I was going to say, that was another part of your donation.
Yep.
Is you said, I'm going to restrain myself to such a degree that I might not even harvest an elk.
Yeah, Yeah, that's a stretch of justification there.
Well, what are we going to talk about on the next podcast?
We've got I made a list here.
Really?
A list. Possible future topics.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh,
There's probably 30 of them here.
really?
Yeah.
Because after Arizona, what's our next one on the list?
Utah's
Okay.
next for applications.
We won't have to do a whole episode on Utah.
No.
Because in our previous podcast, we said that...
Stay away.
Well, yeah, unless you have lots of budget,
Yeah.
Utah ends up being kind of a harder one to justify if you're on a limited budget.
Yeah. Yeah, we can talk about Utah and maybe, I don't know, do we combine it with Nevada?
We could combine them because they're both kind of in the same ballpark.
Yeah. We'll figure that
I think
out.
one of the things that I've noticed some of the questions coming in on, we should go on a cow elk hunt this year. I am
Number one request for a podcast on tactics for hunting cow elk.
Yeah,
Hands down.
I get a big smile thinking about that.
Yep.
That people are that interested in cow elk hunting. That's cool.
And honestly, I think I probably take it for granted because I've not focused on cow elk hunting.
Right.
But without a doubt, every season, every hunt I've been on for bulls, I could have shot cows.
Right.
And so I guess I probably wouldn't change anything. I would go and hunt bulls and shoot a cow.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that would be, and that's simplifying it a little bit much, and we can get into more detail when we talk that. But yeah, it's such a popular topic that we're adding a module in the University of Elk Hunting online course for hunting cows.
Really?
Yeah.
Rifle or archery?
We'll do both.
Both.
Yeah. And when you look at it, I think there's probably more opportunity for antlerless hunting than for antlered hunting.
Way more.
And so,
way more. And especially if, a lot of places you do have a lot of private land and access can be a challenge. But if you show up and say, I'll help you get some of those elk out of your hay stack or your alfalfa field, you got a much better chance of getting the nod of approval than if you say, hey, can I go shoot that really nice bull out there?
Oh, yeah. You go out there and say, hey, I noticed the elk have torn down your fences. I'll come next Saturday afternoon, help you rebuild fence, and maybe we can talk about me shooting a cow out there the next day.
Yeah, we definitely got to do on that.
Yeah.
I know we get a lot of questions about what our camp looks like, and that's got so many variables. I still struggle to put my mind around it because whether it's a base camp with wall tents, that's one thing. Whether it's a backpack camp, it's another thing. So there's definitely a lot to cover there.
A lot of gear questions.
Lots.
And you and I, we share some commonalities in some of the gear, but some of it we're on polar opposites.
Right.
And so I think there's some discussion there about maybe what we look for in gear, and that there are more than one option sometimes.
Yeah, that's what I tell people. I don't get too, I use these optics or this bow or this rifle. I wouldn't be a very good salesperson because I tell people here's what works for me and how I hunt. It doesn't mean it's the end all be all. You got to do it because this is what Randy Newberg does.
Yep.
And so I avoid these Ford, Dodge, Chevy arguments, Coke, Pepsi debates. To me, they're just such a waste of time and energy. And so
that's funny because you debate the condiment versus non-condiment.
Well, that's
discussion.
Just like that's not even a debate. Think about all the unnecessary bad health calories that come with condiments.
Yeah, but how do you swallow a piece of bread without lathering some mayonnaise on it?
Very easily. I've been doing it for 54 years. It's not that hard.
For those of you listening, Randy is very anti-condiment. He won't even allow a unopened mustard bottle to be in the same cooler as his food that he's eating.
Nope. Bring your own cooler if you're bringing condiments. Sorry. That comes from years of, not my current crew. My current crew is better at it. My old crews that I used to hire from a production company, they would leave those stinky, filthy, rotten mustard bottles open in a cooler. and that cooler would stink like mustard for 2 years. And they'd tip it over, and
it would just enhance the flavor of all the food that's in there is all it would do.
Yeah. And then we'd get home, and they would have thrown a bunch of ice in there that, maybe it melted after a week. And then I got a gruel of mayo mustard water.
What's a gruel?
Gruel?
Is that a gross pool?
It's kind of.
A gross pool of mustard water?
Is when you take solid foods and you mash it up in amongst a fluid or a water. It's called a gruel.
Huh.
Yeah.
Is that a Minnesota term? I've never heard it before.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know where it comes
Learning
from.
Something.
But yeah, I'm a no condiment dude, man. If I'm going to waste calories on something like that, I'm eating ice cream or chocolate. I bet you know how they have those hot dog eating contests? Mm-hmm. I bet you if they had a chocolate eating contest, I'd be the champ.
Really?
I think so. I don't know many people who can plow away as much chocolate as I can. And if you doubt it, just take an inventory next time we go. So,
well, we need to wrap this one up.
Yeah, we've solved way too many of the world's problems already.
It's way too late at night.
Yeah,
we're probably.
Well, I appreciate people sending all these questions.
Yeah, keep them coming. And they contact us through the website. They can go to elktalkpodcast.com and just go to the contact page and send us an inquiry if you've got a question, if you've got a topic, if you've got a guest. We'd love to.
Yeah.
We get literally hundreds of emails a week.
We do. It's amazing.
We do read through them. We don't get to respond to all of them, but we do try to keep a list and keep out the ones that we think would be worthy of discussing. And
so your your YouTube channel.
Yeah.
You had your Destination Elk. Mm-hmm. What are you doing now that Destination Elk is done?
So we've got some really cool stuff coming in 2019 on our Elk 101 YouTube channel.
Okay, cool.
And we haven't officially launched them yet, but there will be a lot more content on a regular basis.
No, that's about. Are you a politician or what? That was a non-committal answer there.
It's a little early yet.
Okay, so roll back the covers enough. What date could people be expecting?
It's kind of an arbitrary date. It's coming soon.
Okay.
Does that work?
That's fine. You're kind of serving up the pitch here for you to tell the world where they could
just
find your stuff.
Go to YouTube, look up elk101.com. That's the official Elk 101 YouTube channel. And subscribe. And that way, anytime new content comes up there, you're getting a notification. And go to elk101.com, join the newsletter. We'll send out periodic. If there's a really cool piece of content, we'll send it out in email form and let you know about it.
Okay. That's as much as we're going to get out of you. I can see there. Well,
maybe you can share what's going on Randy Newberg's YouTube channel. And then maybe I'll copy the platform because it works.
We put out a new video 5 days a week. That's a lot of work.
That's so insane.
When you say this is what we're committing to, and you do 5 videos a week, it turns into a challenge. Did you see? You're too busy to watch your stuff, but we did one. So Michael, my camera guy, and I, we're down archery mule deer hunting the end of November in Colorado, and he thinks I've got this really funky sense of humor, and it's quirky, no doubt about it. And I love telling old stories of growing up because I grew up in such a amazing period of Americana. The movie Christmas Story with Ralphie, that was Randy growing up. That was it. And I watched that movie 3 times every year over Christmas. But Michael hears these stories, and Marcus, and Dan, they all hear these stories. And Michael said, I want to record, the next time you're saying that, I want to record it. And so I got to telling him the story about how my grandma thought wrestling was real. And so we went into
You're
this.
talking WWE big time wrestling.
Yeah, back at the time, though, there were all these little regional ones. Like up in Minnesota, it was the AWA, the American Wrestling Association. Oh, yeah. My grandma, when it came time, boy, she just shut her down. You kids, shut up. I'm smoking my Pall Mall, no filters, and I'm yelling at the TV for the next hour. And if anyone says anything, I'm going to box your ears. So we put that out.
I'm going to put you in a pile driver.
Yeah. And so Michael's recording all this, and I'm just rolling along with it to being my normal goofy self. And last I checked, I can't remember, it was like 250 comments people had on that video. So when you say what's out on the Randy Newberg Hunter YouTube channel right now, you got a little bit of wrestling, got a lot of cooking. We're getting into some of our cooking stuff. Now we're going to start back into these application videos. We've got coming up, we got a Coos deer hunt from Arizona that's coming up. I think that goes live next week. And then we're going to go down to Arizona and an archery hunt Coos deer. So that'll be sometime in February. We got a couple films that are going to be coming up we've been working on for a long time on the Randy Newberg Hunter YouTube channel. And then we have the Fresh Tracks Amazon channel. I saw so embarrassing. I missed 2 really nice mule deer in Utah in this new film. It's called Close. I talk about how I love archery hunting because I get close.
And then you missed.
I missed. Airballed 2 of them. Don't ask me how, but I missed. I must have just got so excited. I show it. I don't hold myself out to be anything real special, so it's not like I got any great reputation to hold. So
that was the hard part, maybe the pressure part of doing the Destination Elk series for me this year.
Yeah,
was before we could edit out if we needed to. Mm-hmm. And this one we made the choice to show the good, the bad, the ugly.
Yeah.
And I don't like bad and ugly.
Yeah.
But it's part of archery. And it was, the year we did the whole Destination Elk series was my worst year of elk hunting ever, as far as from a success standpoint.
Yeah.
But for what we were trying to accomplish, which was educating people in the field real time, I don't think there's a better platform than failure to do that from.
Yeah.
And so I think from that standpoint, it was great. But It also, I was very vulnerable in that, there you go. I just failed.
If you were like me, you've been vulnerable all your life. I fail at just about everything. I'm mediocre at a good day for me. When I'm at my best, I'm just below mediocre. So I have set the expectation so low, Corey, that I don't care what my editors, my crew puts out there. It's all fair game. And it's just...
I think that's a much better way to be than to be, it's... I don't know, insecure is not the right word, but just very aware of wanting to please.
Yeah.
And it stretched me out of my comfort zone, but I think partway through the season, I was saying, I'm never doing this again.
Oh, really?
This has taken the fun out of hunting. But when I got back and listened to the comments and how much people enjoyed seeing me fail and seeing me struggle, realized, you know what? I'm a human. I make mistakes. I fail.
Yeah.
And I think it eased some of that pressure a little bit that next time it's okay. We're going to go out, we're going to share our experience with you. That's what we're there to do.
Right.
And we want the glory of being successful every time we step in the woods, but that's not reality.
No. Let's see. I went to Nevada or New Mexico this year. Me and my uncle spent 7 days down there. Nobody released an arrow. Well, he did. He got excited one day and he started drawing back. And when he let down, the arrow went bloop off. So he did technically release an arrow. And then I did a rifle elk hunt with Gerber, where you and I did the archery elk hunt in Montana. Just got fogged in. 3 out of 5 days was zero visibility. But I show those things because I want people to see that this is just how it happens. You can wish all you want, but that fog isn't leaving.
Yep.
That's just how it goes.
Yep.
You can go to New Mexico, and guess what? If it's 89 degrees every day with a full moon, you aren't the man in the moon. You can't make the moon out of cheese and eat it and get it out of there. Yeah, and you don't have a big enough air conditioner to cool it off, so you better just suck it up, Buttercup,
That's the way it is.
You're going to get your teeth handed to you. And so we had a couple hunts like that, and then we had a couple where we almost had more luck than we deserved.
Yep.
And so I enjoy showing people just that's how it goes.
Yeah, and we've always done films in the past where it's a controlled, edited environment. You still show some of the hardship and the challenge, but then you're able to overcome it and tell the story along a storyline.
Right.
And at the end of the hunt, you're a hero. It turned out successful. You overcame the challenge. And when you put yourself out there and you promote a reality day-by-day hunt series, it is what it is. Yeah. And when you get down to 7 days, you're like, guys, the hunt's over. I didn't fill a tag. It's there's a piece of humble pie that has to be swallowed there. And I think I'm a better person for having eaten the whole pie this season. Yeah.
Well, I'll look forward to seeing what you got cooking if you ever let the world know what it's going to be and what date. That is like as vague of an answer as I can. Wow.
I'll put it this way. We've hired a guy full-time to do video and editing.
Okay. So cool.
That was a stretch for the little Elk 101 business to bring somebody on.
Yeah. Well, I just keep, my wife tells me I got to keep working at the CPA firm, and I just keep blowing it on this operation. I just bought an office building.
Perfect.
Yeah. If you need some space, I'm looking for tenants.
I do if you have internet. I don't have internet here.
Oh, and then we find out from CenturyLink it's going to be $20,000 to get high-speed fiber pulled into the building.
That's just the way it goes.
Yeah. So I'm going to have to tell my wife, hey, honey, I need another loan. And and then I'm hiring, in the next year, I'm probably going to hire 2 more editors, I think. That's how much content we're trying to produce. But what else do I got to do?
Yeah. You spend your money on something.
That's right.
Or at least somebody else's money on something.
There you go. Yeah. I don't have any kids at home anymore. Don't have any money to blow on them. You got 3 of them.
Yeah.
So you got to throttle back a little bit. You got some expensive mouths to feed.
We've got 3 kids with braces right now.
I saw that. And you're orthodox.
All 3 of them with braces. So that's your office building right there.
There you go.
That's your internet.
Yeah. So anyhow, that's what's in store for us. Now it's application season. When it's application season, I'm almost a borderline I behave like I'm OD'd on caffeine. I only drink my 1 cup a day, but I'm into it.
It's a natural high.
Yeah, this is just feeling like, oh man, this little idea, I wonder if it's going to work, and sometimes they do.
And then you get to sit on that anticipation for 8 weeks waiting to find out. And
yeah, you're like Chris Farley, pumping your fist in the air when it works out. Like, yeah. But, well, thanks.
We extended this one. This is 2 hours and 15 minutes.
You were kidding me.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, folks. We better cut that line. Let's get out of here.
I don't know. We got quite a few emails from people saying, you guys just keep talking about elk hunting.
I know.
And I'll keep listening.
These people are bored.
Well, it is application season.
It is. It's winter time. There's really nothing to do.
They could spend 8 hours on Arizona Game and Fish website going through the odds and trying to figure out what to do. Yeah. Or they could spend 2 hours listening to us chase rabbits down holes and drop some nuggets of Arizona information.
I would say 8 days is what they'd have to spend out on the Game and Fish website.
Just to get what you just got in 2 hours here.
Right. Yeah. Should we send them a bill?
Nah, probably not yet. It's probably too early for that.
All right, folks. Thanks for listening.
Yep, we'll be back with another episode here soon, and catch you on the next one.
Good night, Corey.
Good night.